All right, a Friday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. Jam-packed show today. It's a Friday. A lot of football on the docket we'll talk today. We'll get into some baseball as the show progresses, but it's a football Friday, which means that Lee Sterling will be on later on this hour. Todd Lebo, Lee Sterling breaking down the games coming up this weekend. A little more than a rooting interest to get you set for that. Matt Derrick joins us at 11 o'clock. Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. We start our weekly conversations with Kendall Gammon, world's greatest long snapper. That comes up at noon.
I like it. You did put world's greatest long snapper in the show sheet.
Yes, I mean,
no,
do you dispute that?
No, I do not. I concur. It's just...
why didn't I just concur? Mick Schaefer will join us in the noon hour. We'll hear from Andy Reid as well today in the noon hour. He will have his Zoom, and we'll hear from Andy Reid as they are looking forward to the challenge of playing the Chargers in Brazil. And then we got the cuts before the show is over. 913-912-4810 is the text line. 913-912-4810 text line to join us. A lot of stuff to get into. Certainly Chiefs on the docket. College football on the docket. KU in action tonight, 5 o'clock pregame for the Kansas Jayhawks. 6:30 kickoff against Wagner. Postgame right after the game's over, oddly enough. But it's all right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB with our college football weekend last night, Nebraska-Cincinnati, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Nebraska trying to change maybe their fortunes moving forward of finding a way to win a close game and not have a walk-off touchdown or something there late, which was nice because I had Nebraska money line, so that was good. I didn't know which side to play. I didn't trust either side of that, so I parlayed it with Mizzou minus the points in Nebraska money line.
We did the same thing.
Really?
That way we can get the plus.
Yes, exactly right.
I didn't want the minus whatever it is for Mizzou money line.
Plus, with DraftKings, I got an odds boost of 33%.
You dog.
Yeah, so I did that one as well. It was an odds boost on any Thursday play.
Nothing odd about it.
So there you go. 913-912-4810. Let's talk about it. Let's talk some college football. We start with that. Certainly, we'll get into Kansas City Chiefs. Some more clips of Brett Veach and his conversation that he had with the media yesterday. We'll talk about the Micah Parsons trade eventually here in the show, but we start with Missouri and winning in the opener 60-6 over Central Arkansas, and we can talk about the concerns coming out of the game. I think one bigger than the other. Nothing against one of the players, but the takeaway from last night's game was the Bo Show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Bo Pribula. Didn't know what to expect from Bo Pribula, playing a backup role. But there are a number of really good quarterbacks in college football that played a backup to a guy who was going to be a first-round draft pick. And, I mean, we're talking about, a top 10 pick probably.
He's Tom Brady is what we're saying.
Well, that's what I'm. Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, I'd say probably Tom Brady.
Yeah, right.
But you're talking about a top 10 pick in the NFL draft at Penn State. So he transfers. Makes sense. You're not going to play again this year unless there's an injury. And so you go somewhere else. You believe you're a good enough quarterback to play. He was coveted. Missouri paid the money to get him. And I didn't know what to expect from Bo Pribula. But his first pass as a Missouri Tiger. Anytime we compliment or compare one thing better than another, it doesn't mean that the other person overall just wasn't good. But he completed that pass, and my first thought is, for 2 years, it had been such a 50-50 and no confidence that when the ball was in the air, that it was going to be completed, because it just wasn't something Brady Cook was good at. He was good at a lot of different things, but throwing the deep ball just wasn't his thing. He just didn't have that. Like, Russell Wilson might be the best thrower of the deep ball we've seen maybe ever. Like, his touch on the deep pass is unparalleled with other quarterbacks in the NFL. It's absurd. He'll always be able to do that. I think Russell Wilson may be in a wheelchair and be able to throw a go route on a dime. Other things, not as great at, but he can do that. And Bo Pribula's first pass, hitting Johnson right on the numbers, or right in the hands, the breadbasket, if you will, putting it in the breadbasket, I thought, okay, well, that's a little different. Yeah, well, let's see what he does overall, though, because Brady Cook was good at running the offense, all of those things. So it is Central Arkansas. But he was dynamite in the game. Only 5 incomplete passes, almost 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, had 65 yards rushing on the ground, 2 more touchdowns in that game. It was as good of a debut as you could have hoped for an unknown at the quarterback position, where it's a program that certainly has talent, but with the local programs that we talk about, the one thing that they all three have in common is they have to have difference-making quarterbacks for them to excel. If they just have general run-of-the-mill quarterbacks or substandard quarterbacks, they don't have enough talent everywhere else to overcome with some of the bigger programs to make a legit run or have a legit chance at a playoff or winning a game or two in the college football playoffs. And I don't know what Bo Pribula is going to look like the rest of the year. Hopefully the offensive line improves and keeps them a little closer to being upright and alive. But for a debut, it was as good as I can remember for a Missouri quarterback. And that's my first takeaway that I wanted to talk about. The defense, Trotter looked good.
Yeah.
Some other guys like Josiah Trotter getting him. I mean, look, the freshman of the year in the Big 12 at West Virginia, and you get him to go to Missouri, and obviously the lineage there, father, brother, both playing in the NFL. Obviously dad, fantastic player in the NFL. But he looked good. But I want to talk about the good things that came from that last night in the win. We can get into some of the concerns and certainly injuries, but to me last night, it was so much about Bo Pribula, some questions about the offensive line. Ahmad Hardy, I should point him out as well, that 10 carries, 100 yards. But for a question about what he would look like, I think he answered a lot of those.
He answered almost every question because it was, is he a run-first guy whose arm is going to hold him back? That did not seem to be. It almost felt, I don't want to say the opposite, but his arm was more impressive than his legs. Even with 2 rushing touchdowns and 65 yards and that huge one where the offensive line somewhat walled him off and pushed him around and he went up the middle for that long touchdown run. Bo Pribula, you mentioned the first throw. Yeah, I'm 100% with you. But it was even some of the tighter windows and the consistency that I think was where I was really enamored by. Yeah, he had one overthrow, but that was almost a fun takeaway. He overthrew Speedy Johnson on a deep, deep ball. Mm-hmm. You saw the arm strength there, right? That it wasn't like it was an underthrown and in harm's way. He overthrew Speedy Johnson on a very deep throw later on in the game. Was it the third quarter, I think?
Yeah.
Overall, I was very, very impressed. Speedy Johnson looks the part, but I think the Mizzou wide receiver room, to me, looked a lot better. Again, I know it's Central Arkansas, so grain of salt, but they looked a lot better than I expected. I wanted to see how they would look without Luther Burden, without Theo Weiss, with Speedy Johnson getting a larger role, with Joshua Manning a larger role, with Kevin Coleman. What was he going to look like?
Right.
Kevin Coleman looked outstanding. I love Luther Burden. And you see Kevin Coleman wearing number 3, and you're like, oh, that guy's got some juice. Why couldn't they throw to Luther Burden like that last year? How they thrown to Kevin Coleman, Donovan O. I'm not going to butcher his last name, so I apologize. Looks fun.
True freshman, yeah.
Dude, I was very impressed with the Missouri offense. Again, 61 points against Central Arkansas. I get that. But they did their job, and Hardy, he's going to be tough to take down.
Yep.
Just maybe not the fastest guy in the world, but, man, I would not want to tackle that guy.
Yeah, the small little shifts there in that, he had that big run of 44 yards, and it was a nice hole that he ran through. But, one, he found the hole on somewhat of that outside zone, you got to pick your spots, one cut, go. But then the small little shifts in open field shows the natural running ability. So, certainly that's some good things to take away from last night's game for the Missouri Tigers. The concerns and the unfortunate part, Sam Horn, first time he's in the game on a play. The plan was that Pribula would play the entire first half and Sam Horn would play the second half. And what an unfortunate turn of events for Sam Horn. And you just feel really bad for the guy because it looks like he's done playing football forever. Because he signed with the Dodgers, and so when this football season was over, he was going to start his Major League Baseball career. And so one final football season and then full-on baseball career, and he comes in and fakes the handoff and runs up the middle. And just bad timing. He's planting his right leg. The linebacker or safety is diving. And it looked pretty bad. I thought it was, I don't know if he was like, no, that's, you wonder what's going on in a guy's mind who's battled injury so much. Because when he got hit and he rolled over and he was getting ready to get up, he was looking up to have his hands up for the guys to help him up. He had like a weird smile on his face, like, that's. And I was like, oh, so, he maybe got hit hard, but he's like, oh, I couldn't make out what the smile was.
Pretend that it didn't happen.
Yeah, like, oh, no, that's...
I'm fine, I'm fine.
Really? Is
I'm
that
fine.
Yeah, and then he tried to get up and rolled over, couldn't get up and laid there, and it's like... I was like, man, I really hope that's a big thigh bruise. I hope that guy just came through with a shoulder pad into the thigh and knocked him backwards, and it's going to be one of those that just is too tight for him to get up and try to walk. But then the way that he was walking off the field, as soon as they started doing the stability test on his knee, he's laying back and they go in and grab the knee and do the. I'm like, oh, jeez, man, don't let it be that. But if he's not walking off the field and then he's having help get off the field, then they finally showed the replay and you're like, well, it's awful for him.
It looks like, honestly, almost the Mahomes Rice into the knee.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
maybe even worse. I don't know. He had a full leg cast on.
Full leg cast. He was in the
air cast or whatever with
crutches
at the end of the game.
The despair on his face was palpable, and it
sucks, man. It sucks for him. He's battled injuries. He missed last year with Tommy John surgery. Lost the battle to Brady Cook 2 years ago. I don't know if Bo Pribula stays healthy. I don't think Sam Horn would have been named the starter. Because of what Pribula looked like, it would be hard for Sam Horn to go out there and perform better than Pribula did, especially if you have, at times, a leaky offensive line. Because you're going to need a guy like Pribula to go and make plays. I think the bigger impact is the injury to Blake Craig.
Oh, yeah.
An absolute real weapon for Missouri. And that didn't look good either. For whatever reason, I mean, I couldn't quite place what the injury was. Like, they showed the replay, or at least on Twitter, it said, here's the play that Blake Craig got injured on. When he first went down, when I watched it, I'm like, oh, great, that's his right knee. He's planting, and then he just buckles. That sucks. But then the other video that said, here's Blake Craig being helped to the locker room, he couldn't really put much pressure on his left leg. So I was like, oh, well, hold on. And then I went and watched Zapruder film. For as much as you could for grainy footage that wasn't great and didn't have like a close-up replay, because I think everybody was unaware of what was going on except for the sideline. You get a freshman come in and kick the extra point. Oh, yeah, just getting other guys' work, right?
Sure.
And then you find out that he's left the game. You're like, hold on, what? Wait a minute. What's the deal with Blake Craig? And so I'm hoping that as he plants his left leg to go and dive, a lot of the rubber pellets come up. I'm hoping that he rolled his ankle pretty badly. It's a tough spot when you're hoping for a bad ankle sprain and not a season ender. Because either way, a bad ankle sprain, we saw Harrison Butker have to fight through that a couple of years ago, and that made him that really affected his entire year. With how he had to kick and the different kickers coming in and all of that stuff when he dealt with the ankle injury that he suffered in Arizona, right? That first game of the season when McDuffie messed up his hamstring, Butker's ankle that he rolled. Maybe it's that, but if it's the worst and he's out for the year for something, that's a huge blow. He's a weapon. He was an absolute weapon for Mizzou. I don't know what the next guys are going to be like, the freshmen, whoever else, what he's going to be like, but I feel bad for that kid because there's going to be a lot of pressure on him stepping up to fill the role of somebody that was sort of a given. That 50-yard field goal, 55-yard field goal, Blake Craig's going to come through and knock it through. And if this kid isn't as good and is missing some chip shots too, he's going to catch a lot of heat and a lot of flack, and not necessarily his fault because he's a back. College kickers won. Backup college kickers, now we're really talking about, not even lucky a flip of the coin at times.
You might trust Justin Reed kicking a ball more than that. I mean, it's devastating for Missouri because you went from Mevis and you thought no chance anyone can be as much of a weapon as him.
Yeah.
And Blake Craig missed more of the 30s to 40s, I think. But even Mevis did to an extent as well. You had a guy with one of the best, most consistent long legs in all of college football with Blake Craig. He was a sophomore, if I'm not mistaken. He's a sophomore. I mean, expectations were so high for him bailing. You know, maybe Perbula has some games where he struggles, right? But you had a guy who could
get
bail
to the
you.
40 and you're in field goal range all of a sudden.
And you no longer have that. And now no longer are the 30-yarders and 25-yarders. I mean, even some of those extra points where they started leaking farther and farther right and right and right. And, you know, he made all fours. That's good. And we did the same thing with you can't have a Mevis. No one's going to be that. And then Blake Craig, who was a freshman last year, was pretty good. So you're hoping, all right, well, Blake Craig was good as a freshman last year. Can Meyer be good as a freshman this year? We'll find out. But that is a devastating loss for the Missouri Tigers.
Yeah, and we'll see. I after watching last night and KU week 1, and we'll see what they do tonight against Wagner. I might just, whatever it is, I might just take the over for next Saturday. No matter what it is, I might just take the over. Because Central Arkansas had some, early on in the game, had some rough third and shorts, right?
Yeah.
But the quarterback was able to get outside the pocket and create a little bit and find some creases in the passing lanes or the pass rush lanes and pick up yards that way, including a 3rd down and 7 that he picked up. If it wasn't for the holding penalty, that was unnecessary because that offensive lineman got to the next level on, I can't remember which linebacker, but held him at the 1st down marker. Like, the guy's running by you, you're at the 1st down marker, and you hold the guy. Like, that's just dumb. Because now it becomes 3rd and 17, and you don't pick it up, and you're punting, and Missouri gets the ball and goes and scores. And so, you know, that with how good Daniels is, you know, and how in control of the offense he looked last week, and we'll see again tonight, I might just immediately, on principle alone, be like, over. I'll take the over in that game. So we'll see. But those are some takeaways from Mizzou last night. KU in action tonight. K-State back in action tomorrow against North Dakota, 6 o'clock. Unfortunately, both those games are on ESPN+.
Yeah.
Big 12, just stupid.
Can we agree
but
that
KU right here on Sports Radio 810.
Can we agree the offensive line needs to be a lot better?
Yeah, Cody Green needs to adjust a little bit better to left tackle. That was an issue.
That was the big move was Green. We all were we assumed, okay, he's going to be good, and Tolleson center's going to be good. We never really had an issue. At least I never had a question with Green, and that was really, really bad. And I think one was Hardy missed a chip because there was one play where he looked confused, and then you see a free rusher just drill Perbula, and you go, I wonder if Hardy was supposed to pick that up. And it's college football, and this is their first game, and a lot of new pieces. That is going to happen. That is gonna happen, especially game 2 against Kansas. It might happen. You gotta know where to be, and it'll be more paramount because you win 61-6 didn't affect you there. But
was it 61-6? I thought it was 60-6. I mean,
61-6.
Was it 61-6? I wrote down 60-6 for some reason. Not that it matters. I mean, it really doesn't in general, but still.
Yeah, 61-6. I don't know if you had the over or under 66.5, but
I definitely had the 61-6. I definitely had the minus 36.5, 37, whatever it was. I was all over that thing.
I did too.
But yeah, so 61. I'm going to change that.
But Missouri offensive line, retire the tush push, because if you can't get a yard against Central Arkansas, I don't like your chances against the SEC.
Yeah.
But overall, again, some minor complaints.
But they went out there and punked the team they should have punked.
Yes, honestly.
Name your score.
By the way, if you're Central Arkansas, the score looks way worse than they played. Maybe everyone disagrees, but I thought Central Arkansas the first half, they held their own as good as they could have.
Yeah, I thought they showed some real what created some concerns for Mizzou's offensive line.
Yeah,
no running lanes, and the defense getting some stops against the run for Central Arkansas. So we'll see moving forward. 913-912-4810. 913-912-4810. Later on this hour, Lee Sterling, Todd Lebo. We'll talk with Matt Derrick at 11 o'clock, some Chiefs football. Kendall Gammon at noon, some Chiefs football. We'll hear from Andy Reid. and his press conference Zoom coming up later on in the show. Mick Schaefer joins us as well. We continue rolling along. We'll talk a little bit about the Micah Parsons trade and the chorus that is out there around the Micah Parsons trade. So we'll discuss that and the comparison that's being made to a couple different trades. I think there's somewhat of an acceptable comparison. Some things are aligned. There is a parallel to at least one of them. Close, but I find myself not necessarily joining in with everybody screaming and yelling about one particular thing. I don't know that it's as stupid as it looks, at least is talked about on paper. We'll talk about that coming up next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
It's the rivalries, the marching bands, the upsets. Man, Saturdays just got way more fun. College football is back. Saturdays, Thursdays, Fridays, more fun as well. And if you think you know the game, well, then put your knowledge to the test with DraftKings Sportsbook. You can turn your picks into big payouts. Live betting, rivalry week odds boost, just general odds boost. Odds boost last night. I got odds boost for this weekend as well. You get more at DraftKings Sportsbook. They have everything you need to own every Saturday. So if you're looking to play that big game coming up tomorrow at 11 o'clock, which you can hear right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, a little Arch Manning preview.
change the
No,
the
you don't have
word?
to change anything because that's the original song.
All
It was for Friday night.
my timid, my studious friends
No,
are
Friday
here.
night. I think Friday can be. Why would Monday be more rowdy than Friday? Isn't Friday when you let loose a little bit?
All my ruckus,
All my
creating a ruckus friends.
all my run-amuckers. all my
hooligans
all
are
my
here.
rabble-rousing friends are here on Friday night.
I like that.
I don't know.
We could
probably
do
not.
it.
No, I don't think we will. So we'll get into a lot of Chiefs today. Micah Parsons traded to the Green Bay Packers. That came down after the show was over, but we heard and saw the tweets that were going on as the show was progressing yesterday, and then during the show with Seren in the program, all of a sudden you see that Micah Parsons has been traded to the Green Bay Packers. You're like, okay, this thing was real. You know, I like to go back to the Tyreek Hill day when they traded him, because from the Chiefs have granted Tyreek Hill permission to seek a trade to Tyreek Hill has been traded to the Dolphins was about 35 minutes, roughly. I mean, it happened fast. Oh, wow. Okay, so Tyreek Hill, they're looking into, at least they're willing to accept a trade for Tyreek Hill. And then he's been traded to the Dolphins. So I think about that anytime there's news that comes out like that, the reports of they are seeking a trade. So that came out yesterday, and it was the Dallas Cowboys are open to trading Micah Parsons when they haven't been. Like, okay, so they're open to trading him. Let's see. We've gone down are they really going to trade Micah Parsons, right? One of the best defensive players in the NFL. Maybe the best defensive player in the NFL. Are they really going to trade him? And then the deal comes down. He's heading to the Green Bay Packers. He gets a crazy amount of money. Guarantees crazy amount of money. First year, the new contract, $62 million that Micah Parsons gets, $47 million a year in annual average value. The guaranteed dollars, he's the highest paid quarterback or non-quarterback in the NFL by about $7 million. Like, it's an unbelievable contract. And yeah, he had all the leverage when the Green Bay Packers are trading 2 first-rounders and a player for you. You can demand a little bit more than what maybe you were willing to take from the Dallas Cowboys. But that whole thing ended up obviously falling apart. And now he's in Green Bay. And I think the immediate reaction, and understandable, I would say, has been, what a disaster for the Dallas Cowboys and what a disaster for Jerry Jones. Now, I will tell you, typically and almost universally, I am on the side of a trade that gets the better player, that gets the current superstar rather than future potential players. Typically on that side almost always.
What's in the box? It could even be Micah Parsons. You know what
Exactly.
you always wanted one of those?
I know. It's a boat or door number 2. What do you want? Oh, God, I don't know. Door number 2, it could be something cool like a boat. I don't know. I mean, maybe I take door number 2 because I could take the boat, but door number 2 might be a boat. It might be something cool like a boat.
And you know how much I've always wanted one of those?
I wanted a boat for a long time. I've always wanted a boat. I mean, one of those first-round drafts, you might be able to take both those first-rounders, trade up and get a player like Micah Parsons. Okay, so that's all of those things I totally get, I agree with. And I understand the last 4 years with Parsons on the field, the Dallas Cowboys defense is number 1 in expected points added. In the last 4 years without Micah Parsons on the field, the Dallas Cowboys are 32nd in expected points added.
That's insane.
Literally from first to worst. But last year, with and without Micah Parsons on the field, overall they were 29th in EPA, and they were 29th in points allowed per possession. So I understand the thought process of, well, we weren't all that good with Micah Parsons. So do we trade him or pay him all this money and still be not that good with Micah Parsons? The problem with that logic is, well, then you would be saying like so then you would never have any good player if you lose with said good player.
Well, in fairness, Jerry tried taking a shot at him, basically saying that, you know.
He was injured for 6 games last year, and, he might get hit by a car.
Jerry Jones said, quote, "This was a move to be better on defense."
Yeah, because they can't stop
the run.
So, I mean, will they be better at stopping the run? Maybe. They better be better at stopping the run. I don't have as much venom, and I don't think it's as absurd as it's being made out to be, because you're not trading a quarterback.
Yeah.
And we look at Super Bowl winners, and when's the last Super Bowl winner that was led by a dominant defensive player as the best player on the field? And it was one defensive player that everybody around him wasn't all that good, but he was an overall just dominant defensive player. And then, the rest of the team was good. Now, they got CeeDee Lamb, they got Dak Prescott. The offense might be really good.
Rams, Aaron Donald.
I was going to say
They had Matt
Aaron
Stafford,
Donald was
though.
just insane.
Yeah, I know,
But they had Matt Stafford. They had
yeah.
Aaron Donald was really
Kupp.
good. Cooper Kupp was there. So it's a little bit like, you could say the Dallas Cowboys with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. And
You're taking Stafford over Dak, obviously, but I think that defense was definitely
defense was Studley, and Aaron Donald ended the game.
Yeah.
Right? But they still had to have that drive at the end of the game to take the lead.
Yeah, correct.
And convert fourth downs.
It's probably the closest team.
It's probably the closest one that we've seen. The Chiefs, obviously, it's been Patrick Mahomes. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts was really good, but it was an overall defense.
Yeah.
It was the Eagles. You took one player off the field for the Eagles, no matter what that player was, they were still going to be a really good defense.
Yeah, agreed.
And the Eagles' offensive line was amazing. And, how they ran that offense, and Saquon Barkley being a difference maker. We've seen that. But, you go back to Tampa Bay. It's Tom Brady, right? Yeah. Patriots versus Rams. It's Tom Brady. So in this run, it's been Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, and Matt Stafford and the Rams. There have been good players around them. The Chiefs are better with Chris Jones than without Chris Jones.
Yeah.
But do I want to pay Chris Jones $47 million a year when I have Mahomes and I have that and a question of, is Chris Jones worth $30 million and a $17 million player? Right? Is he worth both of those guys combined? He might be, depending on how you view and how you value him. They have to get it right with the draft picks. Because Tyreek Hill was traded. They didn't get 2 first-rounders for him, but they got a first-rounder in plus. And they took advantage of those draft picks. If the Cowboys miss on their 2 picks, then it's a disaster.
Yeah.
But Jerry Jones' point of the 2 draft picks plus all of the cap space, can you become a better, more consistent defense all around? Because I view defense as a 0 weak link side of the football.
Sure.
And if you have one weak link on the defense, they can just attack it. And the weak link for the Cowboys last year was they couldn't stop the run, so just pound it down their throat. Well, Micah Parsons on the field. Yeah, and he's not stopping the run. So what's the weak link there? Do you become a better team overall by picking up the draft picks and the cap space for just one player? Or are you a better player without the draft picks and the cap space, and you're paying that to Micah Parsons? That's what they are betting on. And I don't think it's some crazy, outlandish, absurd, dumbest move that we've ever seen in the NFL strategy behind that.
Agreed.
Because Tyreek Hill was criticized around the league. There you go. Remember, somebody's about to get exposed. Keenan Allen tweeting that out. Somebody's about to get exposed. The Chiefs are over. They traded Tyreek Hill. Let's go on a massive spending spree.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go get Devontae Adams, and we'll get a dude from the Arizona Cardinals that went to the Raiders to play defensive end.
Chandler Jones?
Thank you. We'll go get Von Miller in
Randy
Buffalo.
Gregory?
We'll get Randy Gregory in Denver. We'll get J.C. Jackson with the Chargers. We'll go get Khalil Mack. We will invest heavy because the Chiefs' dynasty run is over. They lost to the Bengals, and now they're trading Tyreek Hill. This is dumb. You're not better without Tyreek Hill on your team. Well, they are actually. They became better because they got it right.
Yes,
with
correct.
the draft picks and the cap space. It allowed them to pay Chris Jones, and they became better overall on defense because of that move.
You got to be better, and you got to get it right. And the issue is, do you trust Dallas to get it right or draft a Maisie Smith
Right.
2.0,
Yeah.
and then you're back where you started?
Yeah.
The interesting part to me is Kenny Clark. If I'm Dallas, I'm probably just trying to get another draft pick, maybe a third rounder. If you're the Packers, don't you want to also keep Kenny Clark to pair at least for this year. With the Kenny Clark aspect, I thought was a little intriguing to me. I know they're saying they're trying to win this year. This, to me, screams you're going to have some regression, that you're maybe doing a little soft rebuild. Yeah, I don't think
For
it's
the
as
Cowboys?
Yeah. I don't think it's quite as bad as people are making it out to be. When I'm here compared to like the Dallas Mavericks with Luka, I think you're just grasping at straws because they're both Dallas and they're both big name players. Micah Parsons is ridiculous. He is the most athletic defensive player probably in the NFL. In 4 seasons, I know people will bring up the 4 games he missed last year. He had 12 sacks in 13 games, 52.5 sacks in 4 years. I mean, he is one of the most consistent, best players in the NFL. The issue is that you brought up, you're not just trading Micah Parsons. It's not the NBA where you can always have at least a supermax guy in your roster. A lot of times in the NFL, it has to be your quarterback that you're paying. You're paying Dak Prescott a lot. You're paying CeeDee Lamb a lot. You already have other aspects of guys you're paying. With Micah Parsons, $47 million. What? $40+ million a year? Your defense, as you bring up, it's not good enough as is, and now all that money's being allocated to one dude.
Which is going to make it tougher to then build the defense around him,
Correct.
too.
And so I think the way Jerry Jones has framed it, I think the way Jerry Jones has talked about it has done him no favors.
Agreed.
And it's easy to pile on Jerry because you've not been to a NFC Championship game in, 29 years?
It's been a long time.
So in an insane amount of time. So I'm just sitting here going, it's going to be a bad optics. But if it's not Jerry, if you take a step back and you try to actually view this from a unbiased viewpoint and not making fun of them viewpoint, one, at least they still have the Yankees to root for, and Georgia football's back, so they at least have that going.
But Bama sucks, or is taking a step back.
Well, they went to Georgia now.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
So it's hurtful that Bama isn't the giant anymore, but they've got Georgia.
They got Georgia, and maybe it's Ohio State. I don't know. I'll have to get with my Cowboys friends.
And we'll see
I'll
who
ask
wins.
my Lakers
well,
friends
we'll
to
see who wins tomorrow, because it could be horns up for them.
Yeah, could be.
If Texas wins tomorrow.
But so when I view it from that aspect, you get 2 first-rounders. They'll be late first-rounders, probably around that 25, 26, 27, 28 range, because I think the Packers will make the playoffs. But still, that's 2 rookie contracts, controllable contracts in the first round. I don't hate it. It's just easy to dunk on them. I think some nuance is needed in this conversation.
Yep, I agree with that. And again, you better get it right. And I think they've done a decent job drafting. I do think they've done a decent job from that standpoint. Not as good as Brett Veach has done in the overall sort of totality.
Sure.
Which is why maybe you trust a little bit more Brett Veach getting it done in what he was able to do. But he also had to go out and prove it, because that 2022 draft, going into that, if he'd have missed on those players, it'd be like, okay, how good of a drafter is Brett Veach? Well, I mean, that draft, people criticize him and clown him for Sky Moore. Like, okay, he made the move, maybe one of the most influential trades that has impacted the AFC to a large degree. He recognized it, made the move, and traded ahead of the Bills to get McDuffie, and the Bills were going to draft McDuffie. The Bills then couldn't lose out on a cornerback. They traded up to get Kyer Elam. If Brett Veach is like, well, actually, we like Elam the same as McDuffie, we'll just wait here, and McDuffie's a Bill? Ooh. And Kyer Elam's a Chief? Ooh. They're paying L'Jarius Sneed. And you're dealing every week with that knee injury because, well, you can't let Sneed go because who do you have? Watson, Williams, that's it? Or they're drafting a cornerback. Okay, now you got to go up and get a cornerback as opposed to Xavier Worthy. Okay, well, now you've got McDuffie and Worthy as opposed to Kyer Elam and name Maxwell Hairston.
There you go.
For the Bills, which is what they're dealing with. So Sky Moore, he missed on that. Yeah, but what about Karlaftis? What about McDuffie? What about Chanel? What about, Watson? What about Pacheco? What about those guys that he in the 2022 draft?
But Jamari Connor was another guy in that trade.
Right, but you have 100%. You have those guys that ability to move around the board because you've got the draft picks. They have to take advantage. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll see if you can take advantage of the advice that Lee Sterling is going to give you as Todd Lebo hangs out with him. Get you ready for the weekend. More Zone next. Man, if you're out there and you happen to be suffering from erectile dysfunction, then you know what? Call Heartland Men's Health. Schedule a consult with them and start your...
cashes on player props, and I think at least two or more $200,000 cashes. So this is what he does. He uses algorithms. He knows the game, and he's probably one of the top 5 in the world.
Awesome. That sounds cool. Check it out at ParamountSports.com. Let's go over some college football games. Got a lot of fun stuff going on this weekend. How about the Miami Hurricanes? You ever heard of them? They got Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a slight favorite here.
If you remember the last time these two teams played in 2017, both teams were top 10, and Miami did a number on Notre Dame. They won 41-8. And I was actually hearing a couple interviews this week where Notre Dame players were saying, listen, we played in some tough places, Michigan, Ohio State, places like that, and Miami might have been the toughest. Now, you turn on the TV most games and you see the Miami games, there's 35, 40,000 fans, there's 25,000 empty seats, but this place will be rocking. And I think I've been to a bunch of places. It may not be number one, but I think it's certainly top 5 when it's full. It's a night game. This is what the fans live for down here. Now, Miami's not going to be as explosive as last year without Cam Ward, but Carson Beck, a lot of people forget, started last year before things didn't go right. His receiving core was terrible, and then he got hurt. He was projected by many people to be the top pick in the draft. So I still think he's very talented. He's 100% back from that injured shoulder. He's got a top 5 offensive line. The running backs, the trio is very good. Now, Notre Dame might have the best running back in the country, but I think they can counter that. They're not, like I said, be as explosive. The receivers aren't quite as good. But I think the difference this year for Miami might be their defense. And Mario Cristobal had a great hire. Defensive coordinator Corey Heatherman from Minnesota. What did he do at Minnesota with mediocre talent? Turn them into a top 20 defense. So he might be their MVP, even over, believe it or not, Carson Beck. I think C.J. Carr is going to be a good quarterback for the Irish, but he's never thrown a pass in college football. And do you really want to start your career playing Miami at Miami in front of 65,000 crazed fans? I don't think so. I think the wrong team's favored here, Miami 23-20. And also look for the weather. If you like the under like I do, it could be pouring all of Sunday, and there's a game being played on Saturday night on the field. So may not be great conditions, and hence a lot of running, and maybe a few turnovers, but could be very few passes, and both teams trading punts back and forth. So I like the under, also like Miami as a small underdog.
A little soupy down there, perhaps. All right, A&M is going to open at home as over a 3-touchdown favorite against UTSA.
So Texas A&M, I think their talent level is coming back up. I love a lot of good coaches in the second year, and you watch them, and you're like, they're just usually a play away or, some type of situation that causes them to lose games. But they start off well most years. They're 7-3 against the spread in home openers. I think Mike Elko is a quality head coach here. UTSA has lost all 6 of their road games last year. They allowed over 30 points per game, including 56 to Texas. They have a returning quarterback, and the reason this line isn't 28 or 30, the reason it's in the low 20s is because they were on a run to end the season last year, but they lost, get this, 12 of their top 14 tacklers, and they were not able to get many good guys out of the portal here to make that defense refortify it. I think Texas A&M runs all over them here, 45-17.
Big one Saturday night, Death Valley at Death Valley. Clemson is a 4-point favorite over LSU. 2 great returning quarterbacks here.
Shouldn't they make one of these two teams have to change their nickname?
Be pretty good, yeah, like
nickname.
A wrestling match, cut your hair or something.
Yeah, this is like one of those ladder matches. The loser, can't fight for three months back in the WWF days. And how about they both have the same name of the stadium, Death Valley? So kind of crazy, but surprisingly, they have never played in the regular season. Didn't realize that. Now, they did face in the 2019 title game where LSU won 42-25, and a lot of people, they're still living on the days of Joe Burrow. If you're an LSU fan, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. But those guys are not here anymore. I think both quarterbacks for both teams will be top 5 picks. But I think this game's going to come down to the trenches, and I think LSU is not as good as Clemson. Offensive line, 4 or 5 starters they lost, including Will Campbell, top 10 pick. And then on defense, they lost all 4 starting defensive linemen. Now, Clemson could match up with Texas last year in the playoffs, but they have 3 defensive linemen who have come into their own, and I think they're going to have 2 of these 3 go in the first round and probably the third go in the second round. So you can win a lot of games with a good quarterback and a defensive line, and I think Clemson's stronger there. And Brian Kelly, 4-8 against the spread on the road in his 2 years at LSU. Clemson, how good are they at home? Just 63-5 straight up. So they just got to win by 5 or more. I like Clemson. 37-27.
It's a big one early. We'll have to wait till Monday night to get the Bill Belichick era underway. He's getting some points at home against TCU.
Yeah. I mean, I think this line is probably higher than most people expected. They thought it was going to come close to a pick-em because TCU went on a run late in the season. I mean, they looked great. But, the pressure was off. This is a team that we might look back 15, 20 years and say, all that we remember is them coached by Sonny Dykes and Max Dugan and getting to that college football championship game. So I just think that they're okay. And I think their quarterback, even though Josh Hoover's good, they're going to be going up against a defense that they don't know anything about. I mean, when was the last time anywhere you got Bill Belichick getting points at home and getting more than a field goal here, getting 3.5 points? I like his quarterback. Transfer from South Alabama, Gio Lopez. He can throw and run. And I think they're going to come up with some schemes. They're going to watch a lot of tape on Josh Hoover and their offense, and I think they've got the tactical advantage here. So you give Bill Belichick and his defensive coordinator, Jeff Collins, a couple months to prepare for a game. Look out here. They may not win, 9-10 games, but, in this home opener in front of a sold-out crowd, I like North Carolina. Wrong team favored. Tar Heels with Bill Belichick in his first game. It'll be crazy. They win the game outright 28-27.
And the big one is early on Saturday, big noon kickoff. We call that 11 o'clock around here. I know it's big noon in the Eastern time zone, but Ohio State hosting Texas. First time ever Texas #1 preseason. They've got Arch Manning. They got all the guys back, but it's tough to win in the shoe, and Ohio State's a slight favorite.
Yeah, and I think the main reason they are the favorite here, probably be close to a pick 'em or Texas or 1 or 2 point favorite, who was played on a neutral site, is they're playing the game in the Horseshoe. Now, let's look back quickly at the game, the semifinal game last year where Ohio State won 28-14. Early in that game, a lot of people forget about this, Texas lost their best receiver, so they had to adjust. And I thought for a while Steve Sarkisian did great with the play calling. But they get down to the 1-yard line, first and goal with less than 4 minutes to go, and what did he do? He did the unthinkable. He put Quinn Ewers in the shotgun and did a toss sweep that lost 7 yards. Will go down as one of the worst play calls in college football history in a big game. And then the next play, Jack Sawyer, he sacks Ewers, and the ball comes loose. He scoops it up and runs for a touchdown. Game, set, match. So they were right there with Ohio State last year. And what's the difference this year? Well, no Jack Sawyer to the rescue. 7 of the 9 defensive players, the top tacklers, are gone for Ohio State. Also, they lost both coordinators. Texas has both coordinators coming back here, and Arch Manning, who played a lot last year. And from what we're hearing, Buckeyes quarterback Julian Saint has not looked sharp in fall camp. I think the wrong team's favored. I'm going with Texas. They pull off the upset in the Horseshoe, 24-20.
And you got a game of the week because we got a whole bunch of games this week. Tell us about your game of the week and the new player props.
Yeah, game of the week is going to be because these 2 great programs here in the history of college football. Alabama laying 13.5, traveling to Florida State. Is this going to be a blowout, or can Florida State, which 2 years ago was undefeated, and if not for the quarterback getting injured, would have played in a championship game last year? Everything fell apart. They lose 10 games. They hit the portal hard. So you want to get that Alabama-Florida State game, just be one of the first 10 callers. Call 800-400-9741. Get Alabama and Florida State on me. And 3 different ways you can come on board. You want to come on board for the season? 1997. You get 25 weeks of action through the Super Bowl. It's our phone service. We've had 30 winning years out of 31 years in business. You can check all the results. Go to ParamountSports.com. Click on recent results. See every single game I've given my clients over the last 5 years. We ended the season on a 10-1 run in the college football playoffs and the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. We've won 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls, 4 of the last 5 college football championship games. 1997 for that. You want to try us out for 5 weeks through the end of September to Remember special, $5.97, or you want to try the player props for the season. It's going to go up. It's probably going to be $1,300 to $1,500 next year. If you love betting the player props, get involved now. $5.97 for the season. Everything's up and available. ParamountSports.com or call 800-400-9741. Start winning today.
Let's go. Got the whole slate next week, NFL and college football. Thanks so much for your time. More Zone coming up next. That's Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports.
All right, hanging out on a Friday edition of The Zone. We'll talk with Kendall Gammon. Kendall's Gammon's coming up. Are you related to Rich Gannon?
No, he's related to Back.
Back Gammon. Matt Derrick, are you related to Derek Thomas? We've had these conversations before. Matt Derrick is joining us. He is with Chiefs Digest. 41 is the Mike podcast. Matt, hello, sir.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you. Guten Morgen.
Guten Tagen.
Guten Tagen. I think that's good morning in
Dry beer bitte.
Oh, Tannenbaum.
I have 12 hours of college French, and I can't remember what good morning is in French.
We're speaking German, but
Ciao.
I know, but I was trying to speak another language.
Guten Morgen, Herr Derrick. Good morning, Mr. Derrick.
Mr. Derrick, how are you? Matt?
Très bien.
Woher kommen Sie?
E2? All right, should we speak English now?
9. I say 9. I was just counting numbers.
C.
10, 11.
9 is no, right? Is it from German?
Correct.
See? So
Aloha.
he said no. We should not speak English.
That's true.
So,
so you keep doing that, Sterling, because oftentimes when you discuss things about your life, it's foreign language to me.
Wo ist ein Badzimmer bitte? Where's the bathroom? Oh, okay, I'm done.
Donde está el baño?
Uy, le bureau de poste. Where's the post office?
Yes.
Why would I need to go to the post office? What am I going to do?
To look for the bathroom. Matt Derrick is our guest. All right, Matt, let's start with this. What was anything you gleaned from the conversation with Brett Veach yesterday? You guys, with Brett, covered a lot of ground, a lot of different areas that you guys talked with him about. We've got a number of clips to play here as well. But anything, let's just start off with something that may have stood out over something else in that conversation that maybe you walked away from.
Yeah, we started with the conversation about Mike Pennell and the decision to move on from there. And that really, evolved into a bigger conversation about the defensive tackle position, the defensive line, and it was a bit surprising to me. I know it was I'm more than a bit surprised. I think I was just about as surprised as Chiefs fans were, because the Chiefs throughout training camp just acted like Mike Pennell was a starter and was part of this team for sure. And I was a bit perplexed by it, if for no other reason than, at 34 years old, with Mike Pennell, you should probably be treating him like a rotational piece, and maybe shouldn't be treated as the starter. And that's no knock on Mike. It's just the fact that he's 34 years old, and you got to manage the snaps a little bit. And the fact that they weren't even really managing the snaps kind of surprised me. So the fact that they had decided that, hey, they're going to go a different direction as far as, the beginning of the season was odd. And Brett mentioned that, hey, Pennell's been a really good player for them in spurts when he's come in at the beginning and everything. So that certainly even suggested a little bit of, hey, save him in reserve.
Yeah.
Is that, what they're kind of wanting to do? And now they're like, hey, maybe that's what the plan was, is to do something a little bit different. But once again, it just nothing added up with what we saw in training camp versus what happened. Now, here's the other piece of it, which is that there was no backup for Mike Pennell, because, Omar Norman-Lott is a 3-tech. He's an interior pass rusher. Jerry Tillery is an interior pass rusher. Fabian Lovett and Marlon Tuipulotu were their only backup true nose tackles. And let's face it, you're not going to put 2 3-techs on the field at the same time on first and second down. You're not putting 2 pass rushers first. And we started to see a little bit of the signs late in training camp when you would see that, like, a Mike Dana would kick inside on first and second downs even.
Good call, yeah.
And that stood out to me late in training camp, that we started to see that a little bit more. That's odd, because that's, once again, Mike Dana's normally a guy that kick inside on pass rushing downs, but he's a versatile guy. But again, that's not necessarily his strength.
He's not an anchor either.
Not
to
an
stop
anchor
the run.
either. So, it was perplexing. But hey, now we are where we are.
Yeah.
They're now trying to basically rebuild that front unit. Especially that one spot next to Chris Jones. They're just trying to rebuild that entire group on the fly, because they do not have a nose tackle, 1-tech, outside of Derek Nottie.
Let's play clip number 6, Michael. This is Brett Veach weighing in on the reasoning behind Derek Nottie over Mike Pennell.
Both those guys have, over the years, played and helped us out in games, but I do think you take in consideration Just the length of the season, and I mean, both guys are older and veterans, but I mean, Derek's five years younger, and Derek did, I think, have a streak of. I mean, when he played here the last 4 years, he was a 17-game player in each of those 4 or 5 years. So I think there's, if you had to do a slight edge, it was just, 4 or 5 years younger, and a guy that's played a lot of reps. And but look, I mean, we're still active at that position. I mean, we were last in the waiver wire, and like I said, a couple trades we couldn't get done because teams kept those guys. But then 2 of the more prominent names of that position, Broderick Martin and Zach Pickens, put the full court press, and going to have those guys and Marlon here for now. So that's just a position that we're kind of hyper-focused on and trying to get that competition better and get more consistency.
The one thing I love about Brett Veach is that he is pretty candid. Like, if this was a situation of, well, we're going to bring Mike Pennell back, I think we would have heard there in that well, there's some roster issues and things going on, and we think Mike Pennell's part of the plan. We think he's part of this team moving forward. And like, okay, well, this is just going to be a timing thing. But in mentioning the full court press on Broderick Martin and Zach Pickens, they released Keziah Izzard to sign some of those guys. They made it official that Robert Tonyan is on the 53-man roster.
Yeah.
Practice squad. You had tweeted it out and reported that Tonyan was signing the practice squad and will be elevated to the 53-man roster. So because of Matt Derrick, we knew this was going to happen. It becomes official with Rashee Rice officially being placed on the suspended list. But they go and get Broderick Martin. They go and get Zach Pickens. They bring in Tyreek Smith. They bring in Ethan Downs. Like, there was a lot of time, space on the practice squad dedicated to trying to figure that position out.
They brought up, and Veach brought up we were the end of the waiver wire, right? Second to last. So that tells me he tried even other guys to bring in.
They tried to trade for what? Juwan Briggs.
Yeah.
And the Jets wanted, or the Bears wanted the Jets pick 6th rounder more than the Chiefs. So they went with that trade because the Chiefs weren't.
They know it's going to be like a 30-pick difference.
Yeah, they weren't. The Chiefs weren't going to sweeten the pot on that one.
To me, I guess what is still surprising is you knew what Derek Nottie was, and they chose in the offseason to go with Pennell over Nottie. Like, they chose that 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So what has changed in 6 months to where they decided to go Nottie over Pennell? I know he says, 4 and 5 years younger and all that. But that information was that information didn't change. That was there the whole time.
Mike Pennell's Dominican, and he got to the major leagues and like, hold on, this guy's actually 4 years older than what his birth certificate was. When we signed him as a 16-year-old, he was 20.
I am 12. Like, it's. I guess that was more or less maybe my confusion, because. And maybe Pennell, did he look bad in training camp? Did he look like he hit a wall? Because
he looked like Pennell to me, but I don't know.
I mean, I thought he looked like Pennell too. But I mean, Mike Pennell again he's a little. I mean, he and Derek Nottie are very similar in this respect. They're guys that you probably want out there for no more than 20 to 25 snaps a game.
Right, first down. Especially a week from tonight.
They're rotational pieces.
They are. The Chargers are going to run it. They're going to run it some more, some more.
I mean, if you want to point it in a problem that the Chiefs had, I mean, the Seattle game was a great example of that. I mean, they, at the point of contact in the middle of the line, did not win.
It's what you and I talked about early on after the draft, and I said there's one spot on this team that concerns me, and that is defensive tackle next to Chris Jones, because nobody's there to stop the run. And I said it at that point, and I was like, I'm picturing 3-4 months ahead of time, Friday night in Brazil, and they are just Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris over and over again, and the Chiefs can't stop that interior run because that's what they want to do, and it's still a concern to this day, and the Chiefs are saying it's a concern.
This is where my, again, perplexion lies. Okay, run defense, Pennell was a 70.2. Derek Nottie, want to take a guess?
PFF
with or without wearing his skates.
PFF is, so I wouldn't be surprised they had like a 56 or something on Derek.
Is it like 48?
I think it's a 40-something.
40.3.
Yeah.
30.
But what was his grade?
Your mileage may vary.
What was Derek Nottie's grade when he took his skates off? Because he looked like he was wearing skates at times on the field as a defensive tackle.
Even the pass rush was better for if you look at the pressures and all that stuff. I mean, Mike Pennell, that's not his game, but you look at the pressures and the stops, all of this, it was Mike Pennell, and that's not.
Well, Pennell did get a sack last year after getting pancaked. Just to be fair, Just he got pancaked, was laying on the ground, and I can't remember who it was, and he reached out and grabbed the leg, and the guy fell.
Sure.
So I just, to be fair, he was pancaked and got a sack.
Again, but he still
He's
had
living right, by the way.
He still had more than not.
I know.
I'm just, I don't know. Again, unless we don't really know, but something over the past final week or so of training camp transpired. I just, this one's hard. Veach knows more than me. I'm not saying I know more, but this is one that I do have a big question mark next to, because I do think Mike Pennell has shown to be a viable resource and asset to the run stopping. And Derek Nottie, quite frankly, has really not shown over the past couple of years.
Yeah, shout out to Sterling for admitting that Veach knows more than him. That's big,
it was big
of
of me.
It
was big of me.
Matt, what do you think?
I mean, you bring it back to the what changed, and I go back even further to what happened, because you can't imagine that this was necessarily Brett Veach's plan going into March, was that he was going to be going to training camp with Mike Pennell as his starter next to Chris Jones, and just Fabian Lovett, Marlon Tuipulotu, and and there was the talk about making Omar Norman-Lott a 3-tech or 1-tech and bulking up, and
I want to play that clip here in a second.
that Brett told us that was not part of the plan. That was just maybe a mix of confusion and interesting. That
Good barbecue.
Well,
yeah, because it sounds like there were some mixed messages.
Yeah. Can we play that real quick?
Go for it, because
Let's
it
play
was
that clip.
interesting.
Yeah, so this is Brett Veach talking about Omar Norman-Lott. I want to just remind people that Joe Cullen a few weeks ago mentioned him playing more, he's a 3, but we've shaded him, and he's putting on more weight, and we're going to use him that way. And it was like a kind of a surprise to hear that. Okay, well, now here's Brett Veach talking about Omar Norman-Lott.
Brought Omar in here to get after the quarterback a little bit. So I think we're going to focus on him working half a man and trying to help us a little bit more in the pass game. That's his strength, and I think we want Omar where he was in college, and that's 305 and getting upfield, getting after the quarterback, and we've talked about that. And sometimes these guys get to the league and they want to do everything, and then there's a combination of having that vision, but also these guys wanting to be everything in year one, and be who you are, and you have a unique skill set. You can get after the quarterback, and I think his weight is back down to 304, 305. Sometimes these guys just get bigger when they come back, and but we had a good long talk about just where we want the diet, and he does have a unique skill set.
That tells me, and reading the tea leaves here, Matt, they scouted Omar Norman-Lott, and they viewed him as somebody that his quick twitch and his strength and his speed could carry 10 more pounds, and he might be able to be closer to Jaron Reed that can do both, a little both. Be good, solid for 3 downs. You're not Chris Jones rushing the passer, and you're not
Seattle Jaron Reed, though, I hope.
Yes, right. And you're not Vince Wilfork, doing some of those things and anchoring on the inside. But you can be above average at both. We'll put him at 315, and he can anchor and then be able to get after the quarterback. My reading of the situation is they saw that and said, well, now he doesn't have the explosion anymore. He's stronger, but he's not the guy that we drafted. We drafted him for a reason. And as he said, we had a long conversation about diet and weight, and now he's back down to about 305. He said, I think we're going to focus on him getting after the quarterback. That's his strength.
There's a couple of, even more elements to this. One is that, because we talked about the weight, and I don't remember where the story originated that he was putting on 20 pounds. I don't know if that came from the Chiefs or it was somebody
315
else
is in my mind for
there.
some reason that he maybe that was what Cullen said, or maybe Omar Norman-Lott said 315. I don't know why that's the number that pops into my head.
He was 291 at the combine. So even 305 would be 14 pounds. And,
right.
And Norman-Lott told us it was more like 15 that he put on. And now it's like, oh, no, we don't want him to do that.
Well, Veach said he's back down to 301, 305 around there.
Yeah, he's down to 304. He's back down to
304, 305.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that means if he's back down, then that
he
315 number, the
315
number that was in my head for some reason, I think is probably where he was, or somebody said that when they were talking
That's
about Omar
24
Norman-Lott.
pounds, by the way, from his combine. 315 is 24 pounds more than 291.
No bleep, he didn't look like the pass rusher that he did at Tennessee. Who's Chris Jones put on 25 pounds? He's not going to look like Chris Chris Jones, quick twitch,
And he
getting
also
past defenders.
sprained his ankle on the first or second day of camp.
That's true.
So that's another reason why. I mean, he just totally lacked explosion and everything.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point too. Yeah,
the bad ankle and the weight just really.
Yeah. And then
really
re-injured.
ruined his camp.
Was it
But
Seattle or was
he
it
tweaked
that he
it-
re-injured the?
I think it was.
I think it might have been Seattle.
It was Seattle. It was
Okay.
Seattle when
Yeah.
he tweaked it again.
Yeah. Sorry.
So,
Go ahead. Good. I'm done.
So yeah, I mean, but those two things really. I don't want to say wrecked his camp. It wrecked his performance because they kept pushing him through there. I mean, they kept putting him out there. I mean, it was a twofold thing. Omar wanted to play. He didn't want to sit out with the ankle. Team wanted him to push through it. So, I mean, both sides kind of decided they were going to do it. So he didn't miss any work, but probably just because of the weight and what they were going to do with him and the confusion, changed things. But, I mean, they did that. Clearly they did that. I mean, you can – everything's true from a certain point of view, as Obi-Wan Kenobi once said, everything he says. But at some point in camp, they had to realize that putting on the weight for Omar was not going to work. It was not a solution to their nose tackle problem.
Right.
So then that must have happened later in camp than you would probably have liked.
Right.
But I go back even to the very beginning. Again, what was your plan in March? And I think it was when I was having this conversation with Ryan Tracy from Locked On Chiefs, and he kind of started me thinking about it. It's like you got to imagine that the Chiefs were not thinking about getting Josh Simmons in the first round. Because if they were thinking about taking a one-tech nose tackle, defensive tackle late in the first round of the draft, all starts to make sense. It's like if they've got a one-tech on this team, the run defender that they've drafted at 31, it makes a lot of sense. But now it's like, okay, wait, they get the 31, trade the 32, but Josh Simmons is there. So now,
Well,
defensive tackle's out the window.
Yeah, let me just say, it's not second guessing. It's somebody that I really liked. I wanted the Chiefs to draft. Watched him play a lot in college because in-laws are huge fans of this team. Deion Walker went in the 4th round of the Bills, and he has been nothing but a star in camp for Buffalo right now. And he's a one technique that also, by the way, has a couple of sacks in the preseason. And it's like, oh, Deion Walker might be the steal of the draft. And that was a guy that I was like, I really like Deion Walker. I think we talked about it.
People did, yeah.
Talked about it with Kent Swanson. Like, I really like Deion Walker, and I think that's the answer to your one technique. You put him next to Chris Jones early downs, and I think you're good. And they drafted Omar Norman-Lott, Ashton Gelati, and Noel Williams ahead of Deion Walker, who's now with the Bills. And if he has this is early on. It's camp. He's a rookie. And he's a rookie 4th rounder, so it's like he's surprising. Okay, is he surprising for a 4th rounder? Or is he surprising for this guy's just a damn good defensive tackle? We'll find out when the season starts, right? I mean, rubber's going to have to meet the road for him. But if he turns out to be a solid defensive tackle run stopper that's going to be playing that role and offers some pass rush ability that he's shown in the preseason, then that's a clear miss by the Chiefs by going Omar Norman-Lott if they're still trying to, and thinking, let's move Omar Norman-Lott into a Jaron Reed and put weight on him, when maybe you had Deion Walker to stop the run that also offered a little bit of pass rush that you were hoping to get from an Omar Norman-Lott or somebody like that. It's one particular player, but it's not a second guess. It's I wanted Deion Walker on the team, and they drafted 3 guys after Josh Simmons, and one of those guys is who you would like to fill the role that you're missing right now, which it looks like Buffalo got a pretty damn good player. And we'll find out.
We'll find out, and it's also, I mean, Brett Veach at least accomplished what he wanted to do, which, even in this conversation yesterday, he professed that, hey, he wants to get younger and more athletic. Well, Omar Norman-Lott and Ashton Gelati both do that for you. I mean, they're younger and more athletic than what you've got in both those spots. So, I mean, they accomplished that. But it really just circles back to what was their plan?
Well, was there a one technique? And again, I wasn't looking at one techniques early. Again, that's why I had put like Deion Walker into the spotlight of somebody that I wanted, because I thought it was a day 2 pick. I thought he would go in the 3rd round. I didn't think he'd last to the 4th. The Chiefs took Royals after Deion Walker.
I do that too.
Yes, the Chiefs took Royals after Deion. So it wasn't like they took Royals ahead of Deion Walker either. So Deion Walker gone. So they only took Norman-Lott, Gelati, and Noel Williams ahead of him. But was there a one technique like late 1st round that they're like, I guess we're passing on defensive tackle here because Josh Simmons? I don't remember, to be honest with you, because I don't remember looking at one technique defensive tackles in day one and early day two. So I don't know if there was or not.
I mean, I see, and I haven't gone back to look at it to see who there was. So,
but it's an interesting theory behind that.
It makes more sense than just go. I mean, the idea was that they're going to come out of the draft maybe with an early defensive tackle that's a run defender rather than a pass rush specialist, because that was their bigger need. And now, no, don't get me wrong. I mean, they need a heir apparent to Chris Jones, and if Omar Norman Lott can be that guy that eventually replaces Chris Jones, because like it or not, I mean, you're getting. At some point at past age 30, I mean, it's going to be the end for Chris Jones, or at least he's going to start being a rotational piece. Got to figure out what you're going to do. So maybe if Norman Lott's there, it's a great pick. But it didn't address your immediate need, and it certainly sounds like, hey, they knew that they had a problem. It's just how quickly did they go about trying to solve it? Veach certainly mentioned that during camp they had a lot of conversations, and like you mentioned, they had the conversations with Cleveland about Briggs, or so and it sounds like they talked to some other teams too about some other players. But again, it's just finding the guy that you want. And once again, I mean, the Chiefs don't want to give up a ton of picks, so there is a free agent out there, obviously, that's available. That we'll see if they ever have any interest in Christian Wilkins, if and when he's healthy. But that's an interesting possibility.
Well, I mean, if any team would know about the Christian Wilkins locker room vibe, I mean, it would be a guy that they had in camp a couple weeks ago, who Antonio Pierce was his coach last year. So Spags loves Antonio Pierce. So if there's a connection of, hey, what's Christian Wilkins like? I think you might get the truth from Antonio Pierce.
I'll pick up the phone and
here's
ask some questions.
I mean, he was in camp. You might as well ask him then. Sit down and have lunch. Go to Subway with him. Have some lunch. Go around the belt.
He might try and do he might try and do that Soldier Boy song, "Kiss Me Through the Phone."
I'll take your word for it. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back and continue rolling Warzone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Matt Derrick hanging out with us. Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. We'll talk with Kendall Gammon coming up at noon. We'll hear from Andy Reid around 12:30 or so. Mick Schaefer will join us while we're hearing from Andy Reid as well. Hanging out with Matt Derrick here in the zone. Matt, the Chiefs keep 8 wide receivers, and it's like, okay, this is obvious. They're letting Robert Tonyan go, keeping 8 receivers because they're going to put Royals on IR, and then they're going to sign Robert Tonyan back, and then that's why you got 7 receivers, and you don't know the health really of Hollywood, and yeah, maybe Rashee Rice settles before that, so boy, you're at 8, and now all of a sudden you might be at 6 or 5, so yeah, it makes a little more sense. And then you tweeted out that Jalen Royals is not going to go on the IR, and I'm like, okay, well, make it make sense. Can somebody do the math here? And it's obvious that the Chiefs had an idea that the Rashee Rice suspension was coming down the next day. And we played that clip yesterday from Brett Veach saying that we knew it was about 50-50. We were notified a little bit beforehand that it was going to be about 50-50. So that's why they went with 8. What's the impact, do you think, for the Chiefs that we know the suspension, it's 6 games, starts right away. They signed Tonyan today because Rice now officially suspended. Or last night they did that, whatever. What's the impact for the Chiefs then? Good news, bad news that it's starting right now. Would have liked to see it in week 5 after these first 4 weeks. What do you make of now this thing? We know what the result is.
I mean, the really odd thing about this whole thing from all along from the Chiefs standpoint is, and I was not alone in this. I've talked to other people who've heard the same thing. I've heard from multiple people that the Chiefs were like, hey, we're okay with anywhere from 2 to 6 games. They just didn't want more than 6. Mm-hmm. But they're like, gosh, just really wanted Rashee Rice for week 1 against the Chargers.
Interesting.
And I mean, I got to think part of that is just because Andy Reid, knows the AFC West is going to be competitive this year, and every divisional win is going to be important. But that's about the only thing. I mean, if you're Chiefs, I guess this thing didn't go the way you wanted. It's just that you'd like to have him for week 1, but everything else, no. I mean, the earlier the better. You did not want this thing to go to September 30th in that disciplinary hearing, because the last time that they did this, the only time that they did this with Deshaun Watson, and we talked about this, it took 60 days for Sue Robinson to come out with her decision. And if she comes up with 6 games in December 1st,
then Roger Goodell's he's also gonna appeal at that point.
He could have.
But playoffs,
if he wanted more games,
he would have appealed at that point. I don't think there's any question if Sue Robinson came back. If this went to Sue Robinson, then it got to the point to where he wasn't willing to come down below 8 or even 10.
Or 10, yeah.
And if it was 6, I think he would have appealed based on the PR of it, of people saying, well, Roger Goodell's soft on this, so he's going to just no, I'll appeal it. And if it comes back 6 again, I'll appeal it. That's fine. I'm going to extend this thing.
And just as a diatribe here, and just my own issues with the NFL and their decisions and how and Rodgers and suspensions and all of this nature. Jordan Addison was a second DUI that he had?
Was so he had a speeding ticket where he was going like 134 and a 50 or something, and then he had the DUI that he was asleep in the whatever it was, but he had the DUI. The suspension was DUI specific.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a second offender for Addison. They didn't add in the original speeding ticket. It was just a speeding ticket. So all they suspended him with was the DUI, standard CBA DUI 3 games. DeMarcus Robinson DUI 3 games, etc.
But the fact that once again, actions have consequences.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt about that. But it's idiotic to me that you punish players differently just based on whether or not they were lucky enough that they didn't get into an accident or cause an issue. I mean, I don't think DUI is something that's worth only 1 or 3 games. I mean, especially if Rashee Rice was worth 6. Well, DI probably needs to be worth 6 too then. I mean, it's like you need to have some consistencies, but neither here nor there about going off on things like that. But back to the receiver thing. I mean, what was really odd on Tuesday was that I just kept hearing about the Chiefs are keeping more receivers than usual. They're keeping like 1 extra receiver. And so I was like, okay, well, that means they're keeping 7, and Nico's on the 53.
Yeah.
But then find out that it's 8, and it was like, okay, yeah, they know that Rashee Rice is getting the suspension, so that's all making sense because nobody else is hurt. I mean, Jalen Rose is the only one. Unless there is a setback, he's not going on IR. I mean, we'll find out here in 20 minutes or so from Andy Reid about what his availability for Week 1 will be,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't appear to be anything long term with him. So it's like, okay, yeah, then this is obviously Rashee Rice suspension is coming, and so how do you deal with that? Well, I mean, Juju and Royals can both play that spot. It'll be interesting, to see what they do with the game day active situations, and because I mean, once again, it all that Jason Brownlee situation was so weird because I mean, he had a good camp. He and Tyquan Thornton were just like neck and neck. And then he catches that back shoulder throw from Holmes in the first preseason game, and you're like, hey, Jason Brownlee might make this team and be a star. And then he just got buried on the depth chart. And I don't know if they were trying to sneak him through waivers or what the plan was at that point.
They saw enough. They said, hey,
I guess they just saw enough.
Well, I mean,
good.
he went back out there in week 3. He just didn't make the catches that he had made earlier. He had a couple of opportunities at a back shoulder throw. My view on Brownlee is, I mean, I don't know how many Jody Fortsons and Justin Rosses there need to be before we just take the Chiefs at their word that they really want that skill set. They really want a wide receiver that does that on the team, and he's the one that presents that specific skill set. So it's like you're building a band. You need a bass player, you got to have a guitar, you got to have drums, you got to have all these different attributes to a player, and they like a guy that's a bigger catch radius and makes those acrobatic back shoulder throws that you can just throw it up to. Justin Ross was big and Fortson, but I didn't think he'd make the squad even with Remigio making the team. And Remigio made the team and Brownlee made the team, but obviously Brownlee would not have made the team if Rashee Rice was not accepting the suspension. I think we all can agree with that, right? He'd be out if it wasn't for Rashee Rice.
And I mean, it's great for the Chiefs because let's face it, well, knock on wood if you want to, if you're a Chiefs fan here, but with this receiver group, it's as talented as all get out, but trust them, they're going to miss some games.
Yeah, yep.
So by the time that Rashee Rice gets back, somebody else is going to be hurt.
Yeah.
So that's why Jason Brownlee's going to be handy to have.
There's so many
Don't
of them.
say that. This is the one year that Madden turned injuries all
Thank
off.
God. Thank God. About time. Like yesterday, I tweeted out about the entire wide receiver room being turned over from the game against the Lions in 2023 versus the game against the Chargers this year. That the wide receiver room was MVS, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, Richie James, and Justin Ross. Those were the receivers starting for Detroit, that Detroit game.
I still believe in Richie James, by the way.
2 years later, it's Rice, Worthy, Hollywood, Juju, Royals, Thornton, Remigio, Brownlee. So as I tweeted that out, I'm going through my Excel spreadsheet, and I'm just typing, and somehow I skipped right over Thornton. Went Royals, Remigio, Brownlee, and I'm like, all right, there we go. And then there were a couple people like, how in the hell do you have Brownlee on here and not Thornton? I'm like, I got the... But it was past the 30 minutes to where I could edit the tweet.
You're getting ready to argue with someone, and you're like,
and I'm like, well, can't edit it, so I just...
I can think of worse things.
No, it's the worst. It's the absolute worst thing in the world. It's the worst thing in the world. There's nothing worse than that. So then I just had to quote tweet it and go, obviously Thornton was supposed to be on here because that's a big part of this overall room. You had Richie James and Justin Ross that are, and are playing the role of like what Tyquan Thornton, not playing the specific role, but that deep on the depth chart of your wide receivers. Now you've got a guy who was a second-round pick and offers something specific in a skill set that allows Xavier Worthy to almost be utilized differently. That is, Xavier Worthy doesn't have to be the guy that you go, he's going to take the top off the defense. That's what we're using him for. You can look at Xavier Worthy and go, well, Tyquan Thornton is on the field at the same time. Tyquan can run deep, and we can use Xavier Worthy in different ways and take advantage of his route running ability and his skills there. So, it's just the overhaul of the wide receiver group is amazing from 2 years ago to now. I mean, there are 26 different players on this roster to begin 2025 than there were on 2023.
Yeah, and there's an interesting part of it too when it comes to the practice squad, because you've got three guys in Tyquan Thornton, Jason Brownlee, and Robert Tonyan that the Chiefs signed the practice squad last year when they were cast off by their teams to just kind of have around and see what they got. Mm-hmm. And now, you got three of those guys that made your roster this year. I mean, that's another way to use the practice squad. I mean, teams use it for, especially now you've got 16, 17 players, use it for a lot of different reasons. I mean, obviously scout team is a big part of it. Having just backups is a part of it. But testing guys and trying them out and saying, hey, here's a guy, let's see if this guy's going to be could be of any use to us. I mean, Tyquan Thornton, he's built for maybe two or three teams in this league. You've got to just have a quarterback like Mahomes that can put a deep ball on a dime. And I'm not even sure if I can put Aaron Rodgers in that category anymore because Aaron Rodgers is terrible. But
Russell Wilson still can. I mean, I think Russell Wilson will always be able to throw a deep ball accurately. I joked about that in the first hour. Like Russell Wilson, if there's one thing he'll always have is
not
that.
even sure I put Josh Allen in this category.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a couple of teams, and I mean the Patriots were not one of them.
No.
I mean their quarterback situation, their offensive line had no way to utilize Tyquan Thornton. But you saw that ball against the Bears. You give Mahomes 3 seconds or more in the pocket. Tyquan Thornton's got the speed to beat any corner in the league, and he runs faster straight line than anybody in the league. Maybe anybody in the league, even maybe faster than Worthy.
Yeah, they're not going to. I don't think you're going to see a lot of single high safety against the Chiefs
no,
this
probably
year.
not. But if they do, I mean, it's just like going to be like it was 5-6 years ago with Tyreek. It's automatic touchdown.
Dude, I mean, they ran single high there, and the all 22 is phenomenal because Tyquan a little stutter and then beats him, and Mahomes sees that and throws it. But also, as number 9 is the safety deep, Brisker, he's got to make a decision because Tyquan's beating his man to his right, but Worthy's running an over route, and he's got 3 or 4 steps on his guy. That's a touchdown.
That's what Andy Reid's going to do, even with two high safeties. He's going to make the safety make a decision.
Yeah, so it was a touchdown or a deep throw to Xavier Worthy, that was a connection. Worthy was open and Tyquan were open, running different ways on the field, and you put the safety in a position of, I've got to choose one of these guys, and if I choose whoever I choose, the other one's going to be open.
I told you, I've put the Sterling stamp on the Chiefs offense looking like a top 3 offense in the NFL this year. I'm fully entrenched in what they can be, and maybe I've bought into too much of the hype. I'm fully aware of that, but I just think that Mahomes has learned. I think Andy has learned. I think the receivers have improved vastly. I do have obviously this first 6 weeks of the first 6 weeks of the season. I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle, but from week 7 on, I'm fully in belief that this is going to be one of, if not the best offenses in all of football.
I'm going to ask Matt Derrick when we come back, looking at the offensive line. We'll ask him the question from a couple different ways of success, offensive line, and blocking, what this offense can be. We'll take a timeout, come back, wrap things up with Matt Derrick next. All right, so quickie here with Matt Derrick. We'll talk with Kendall Gammon coming up at noon. So finishing off our conversation with Matt Derrick, 41 is the Mike podcast, Chiefs Digest. All right, so Brett Veach talked about Josh Simmons and Kingsley Suamataia yesterday, and certainly it felt like he was alluding to Kingsley when he was talking about Josh Simmons as a guy that does not let a previous play affect him, and he's got the swagger and this intensity, and they had an issue with that before of the guy that sort of we are all just going to go ahead and say that he was talking about Kingsley last year, and we'll see if that's the case. But here's the question from two different standpoints. One, what's the ceiling for the Chiefs offense if they get adequate pass protection? And what's the ceiling for the Chiefs offense if they get above average, like, oh, wow, Josh Simmons is good and Kingsley's figured it out, pass protection?
I mean, I feel like if they get adequate pass protection, top three. I mean, I'm going back to 2022. I mean, even 2023 when they had Donovan Smith, the pass protection was, I mean, I guess you'd say it was adequate, but the receiver group was not adequate that year, especially with the injuries and all the issues that they had. This
and
year,
that group we're talking about, MVS Sky, Kadarius Toney, Justin Watson, Richie James, Justin Ross,
Drop City,
rookie
man.
Rashee Rice. Yeah.
Still don't understand how Richie James didn't play all 17 games that year, but
Dude, you and me will never not be.
Anyway, so
but no, I mean, adequate pass protection, top 3, top 5 minimum. If they get above average, above adequate plus,
yeah.
It'll be the best offense in the league.
Yeah.
You saw it. I mean, even though it was like mix of ones and twos, and it's the preseason, and it's only the Bears, and all these caveats you want to throw out there, they went up on down that field. I mean, they could have put 50 if they played the full game against the Bears.
Well, the first team offense has played, 22, 23 plays?
23 snaps and 24 points.
There you go. So they play 50, 60 snaps a game. I like if they score that many points.
That would be efficient.
I think they're going to win all their games if they score that many points every game.
They've only lost one scoring more than 50 that I can think of.
Yeah, and they didn't have this defense.
I need to see how many snaps Mizzou ran last night.
Every of them. Every of the snap. Thank you, Matt. You're the man, brother.
Thanks, guys.
We'll talk with Kendall Gammon coming up next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. We'll hear from Andy Reid coming up in just a little bit. As we continue rolling here, we talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, and we talk about that with Kendall Gammon joining us here in the zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kendall, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How's everybody there?
You know, I think we're doing fine. I think we're doing well.
Okay.
You know, I think we're all good. Where does
Phenomenal.
Yeah, so there you go. Phenomenal for him. So there we go.
Very nice.
Where do we find Kendall Gammon today?
Kendall Gammon was in Big Rapids last night for, unfortunately, a loss by the Pitt State Gorillas to Ferris State. That was number 1 versus 9. So we were there and then left the game a little bit early and flew and just hopped right over to Milwaukee and with a few friends, and we're kind of tour a building and just kind of doing some stuff for Pitt State and going to talk some Chiefs football.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that, man. That's too bad. I'm sorry that that's the reason you're there. So
yes, I know that sounds very sincere.
Yeah, no, I mean it's that sucks, dude. So Kendall Gammon is our guest. Crown Automotive is sponsoring Kendall Gammon each and every week. All right, Kendall, let's talk about this Kansas City Chiefs team. How you feeling going into this one? Like there've been a lot of things that have taken place this offseason and the revamping of different parts of the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like they're a better roster 1 week from today when they get out there. Do you feel like that's the case, that they are a better roster today than, let's say, the Super Bowl at the end of what they looked like in that particular game? How do you assess this one?
Yeah, I really do, because I'm going to be a broken record, but I mean, with the left tackle position being shored up somewhat, I think that alone, I know there's lots of other things that are going on, but I think that alone is amazing. In that third preseason game, how they performed, I thought was impressive, and I understand Sua Matatia still having some issues, but I thought he played better this third game, and it's going to be interesting. I think Patrick Mahomes becomes even more dangerous than he's ever been if he starts to get more protection. And I know people have harkened back to Eric Fisher and Schwartz and those tackles, and they were good, but he was still running around a lot back then as well. So I don't know. I think this is a pretty special thing. I hope and I believe that this will be the left tackle for the rest of Mahomes' career.
That's amazing. I mean, that would be such a check mark on something, yeah. Kendall, that has been a square, that has been blank, and it's had multiple choice answers for the last number of years as to who's going to be that guy. And if they can just mark that off the list of things that they need to figure out for the next 5-10 years, that would be so monumental for this organization to not have to even deal with that anymore.
Well, and something I think is interesting, and we probably won't hear about it, but how they got him, with the injury, how all the other teams passed thinking that he wouldn't be available, and yet we took the flyer and the chance, and we're getting a top 10 pick. It's really just amazing. And now, obviously, it's all been orchestrated by the NFL to make sure we're good, and we know that. But all the same, it's did you catch that a little bit? The sarcasm?
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
But it is beautiful. But that being said, I'm excited about our defense. There's some questions, I think, certainly, and I don't know. Probably if I have one concern, I'm not sold on us at running back and what's going on there. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I do. I wonder how much last year Isaiah Pacheco and what he looked like late in the season, Kendall. You've had injuries before. I mean, you've broken a leg in a game, and I wonder how much Isaiah Pacheco, because of what the Chiefs were trying to do. If Pacheco was on a team that was like the Jags or the Titans and just playing out the string, I wonder if he comes back when he comes back, as opposed to trying to win 3 straight, and maybe he came back a little bit earlier. And to help out the team coming back earlier, then maybe he's only at 75% of what return to performance would be for him while returning to play, and he just didn't look the same while getting back to help the team. Whereas if he didn't play last year, we might be like, all right, Pacheco's back, and the last time you saw him, he was that guy that had that quick burst that was missing last year.
Yeah, that's a good point. You put it that way, and I would agree. I will say no matter what and however things are, the one thing that he's a great runner, but there's a couple things. I think running back is the easiest position to fill in the NFL. And the other thing with Pacheco in general is I don't think he does, nor has he ever had the long speed.
Yeah.
And that's something I think we're missing.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think we're just missing, and I say it every year, and it just doesn't seem to develop, which is I just want to see swing passes out of the backfield and have that be a big part of our offense, because I think that could be huge and really open up a lot of other things.
Yeah, I think Pacheco – I think Pacheco will get what's blocked for him. I question the vision that he has or picking up anything sort of extra. I think he's going to get what's blocked for him. But it would be nice to have a little more dynamic of a runner that can create some things there. And your point about, throwing the ball to the running back, I'm hoping that's what they have in Brashard Smith in the 7th round. But it kind of seems like, Brett Veach talked yesterday about Brashard Smith, that dislocated finger that he suffered in training camp, that is something that apparently is bothering him and may have contributed to him dropping the ball the opening drive from Holmes. And then he did catch the second one, but he didn't catch it cleanly, and it was a little awkward there. But the way that Brett Veach was talking yesterday, that thing may be bothering him a little bit more. So I think it may limit how much of a game plan he is for the Chargers next Friday. But I think we've seen early on, Kendall, especially in that opening drive against the Bears, they threw to him twice out of the backfield, and both of them he was open, streaking down the field.
Yeah, and you know what? I think you've talked about it on the radio, which is with that, because you talked about Carson Steele and people thinking that he was on the team because he was playing with them, but Veach saying they wanted to see what they had, and so you took it a different way, which I agreed with. And I think in this sense, even though he didn't catch the ball or as cleanly as you'd like, the fact that he could get open and he could do things, even when they understand he's got a little bit of, and he was going to be there anyhow, but under a little bit of an injury, I think that just showed some promise. But we will soon see. I mean, we saw a little bit of the Chiefs' offense this last game, but they certainly didn't game plan and do a whole bunch. So, I mean, what we're going to see against the Chargers will be a whole new thing, I think.
Kendall Gammon is our guest, presented by Crown Toyota, Crown Volkswagen. Sometimes as a novice or outsider that watches the game but did not play it and tries to study it as much as possible and listen to people who have played it, oftentimes it'll be, this guy played tackle, so he should be able to slide down to guard and be a good player as a guard. Kingsley Suamataia in these games, the first couple of games, there were some concerns. The game against the Bears, he looked much better. He looked like he was more on balance. If he lost a rep, he didn't lose it immediately, that he had a couple of those in the first couple of weeks. The transition to guard, I think, is interesting because how much is there a spatial sort of uncomfortable feeling that if you've been a tackle your whole life and you're out there on an island more and you've got space to your right and your left to move your feet or whatever the footwork might be, versus then now you're a guard and I've got somebody to my right, I've got somebody to my left. I'm supposed to be, dropping back into pass protection, but as my right foot's here, my left foot's there. This guy, I got Creed right there as opposed to if I'm a tackle. Does that take a little bit longer than maybe what we give it credit for Kingsley getting used to playing in between two big offensive linemen as opposed to he's out on an island on his own and he's got space to work right and left?
Well, here comes the terrible answer, which yes and no. In terms of, I think it's easier to move from the outside to in than to move from inside out. But now you liken it to a bowling lane, and you've got the bumpers up. And so now you've got something on either side of you. I mean, to the degree, everybody knows that I was a long snapper for a long time. They don't know that I was a backup offensive lineman, albeit not a great one, and not even actually a good one. But all the same, I could get you through a game because I listened and I had some technique or whatever. But I could do that at center and guard, and actually really the only meaningful time I ever played was at tackle my rookie year during the game when we had people go down. And it's pretty disconcerting when you have somebody out there, and in my case, who is just probably 10 times the athlete as me out there, and you don't have help to the outside. So there's so many different things that go into it. The big thing is I think you're going to see a lot of twist and stunts against the left side and see if they can handle it, because not enough time to go into it. But there's a lot of technique there in terms of you have to slam and the guy that's trying to stunt in there, because he's then trying to hit the guard or the tackle that's going the other way and move them to where they can't recover. And it's a long story, but it's tough to do. So I would expect to see a lot of that, and I would think there's probably going to be a little bit of growing pains over on the left side. But in general, I think Suamati Tia,
Nailed it.
I just think
Kingsley
he will. What's that? Yeah, Kingsley. Thank you.
There you go.
I just think he's going to have more confidence and feel better about things where he's at.
Yeah, I think Brett Veach talked about it yesterday a little bit too when he was discussing Josh Simmons and discussing Kingsley, and he was discussing that move to guard, and he said, they like what he's done along the way. They're hoping he can have a little bit of Josh Simmons swagger, rub off on him, that, Simmons is a guy that he gets beat. Oh, well, next play, I'm going to go and win. And he's got a nastiness and an aggression to him that you need. And he said, we kind of battled against that. We kind of had that issue, recently. And it doesn't take much of a leap for us to know that he was talking about Kingsley last year, because there are many people that were in the locker room after the Bengals game that said he looked like a broken man. And it was once they decided, Kendall, it wasn't just that he didn't perform well. I don't think you have a guy in camp as your left tackle throughout camp and throughout the preseason, and then game one he looked fine against the Ravens, and then game two he has a bad game and you got to bench him, and then he never plays again unless you don't feel like mentally he can recover from that particular performance, or he's a guy that the mental part of it is, in terms of recovery and confidence, is lacking for him, or belief in himself and swagger is lacking for him, and you've got to make a move. And hearing Brett Veach sort of talk about that, to me, it makes a little bit more sense as to why they decided we've got to get him out of tackle and we got to go with a different direction here with Wanya, or go get DJ Phillips, or move Joe Tooney out there, because this guy, once the bullets were live, Kendall, in camp it's different, but once it's live and Mahomes is getting hit and knocked down, he didn't have the between the ears to recover from that and get right back to playing the next snap without the previous one bothering him.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the one word you said is the biggest one, which is confidence. And his confidence was shot. You could see it. You could see it in the body language. You could see it in the performance. And I would say this, when you move to Josh Simmons and how he's moving and what he's doing, I always saw him up at camp. The game's not too big for him. To be a rookie and be doing what he's doing already, I think is fabulous. And that's just something that you didn't have with Kingsley. So your point is well taken. But with everything happening the way it has, you've got a chance to have an offensive line that's one of the best in the league, which is something I don't think we ever would have thought, after these last couple of years and what's been going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. I loved when Veach was talking about Josh Simmons and saying that they were he said you would quantify it. He was asked about the competitiveness. He said, I would quantify it, surprised us a little bit in how much fight, literally, and he said, I don't condone that, but the fight that's there, and he said there's a nastiness and a compete to his game, and okay, I got beat, let's go again. Let's do it right away, because now I'm going to beat you. And that's what he obviously wants Kingsley to learn from and have more confidence from that standpoint. Kendall Gammon is our guest. He's presented by Crown Toyota, Crown Volkswagen. All right, Kendall, I've been wanting to ask you about this for a few days now, because on Tuesday, the Los Angeles Chargers placed their long snapper Josh Harris on the IR. He has long snapped every single game for the Chargers since the beginning of 2022. They have been working out long snappers and tryouts, and they'll be long snapping for the Chargers at least the first 4 weeks of the season, and 100% they'll be doing it next Friday against the Chiefs. We know the holding aspect of, the kick, all of that. But, Kendall, you work with one guy your entire career if you're Dicker, the kicker, and you're the holder for the Chargers and a long snapper. Now a week you have to get used to a different one. What are the differences? What are the maybe concerns the Chargers should have if they're bringing in somebody off the street that is unfamiliar because they didn't have anybody in at long snapper to compete. They didn't need anybody to compete with their long snapper. It was like they're James Winchester. It's just who he is. He's there.
Well, first off, I'm obviously disappointed that I didn't get a call. But after that,
I was talking.
The rival, Kendall. You would go to the rival.
I tweeted at Jim Harbaugh. How do you not have Kendall Gammon in this week?
Yes,
and he said he's got a prior commitment in Wisconsin. So
there we go. There you go. You know, timing is everything.
Yes.
You know what? When we say that, the timing with the snap and how everything's going on, does the long snapper give the laces each and every time? Is he used to the kicker and how he sets up and how long you're sitting in the box, in the batter's box, of waiting for the kicker to be ready to call for the ball, things like that. It won't be perfect. They should be able to find somebody and do a decent job. But what you talk about is very real. That could be an issue for sure. And I mean, it doesn't matter how much you work throughout the week. It's just not enough time as compared to having it in camp and doing everything. So that is a significant thing for them, and I was not aware of that. So that in a game like this, that could make a huge difference for sure.
So I do want to. I didn't see this that they have signed somebody. So they signed Rick Lovato, who was he's long snapped for the Philadelphia Eagles for a number of years. I think he was last year's. I think it was the snapper for the Eagles last year. So they went and got a veteran guy who's been in the league 10 years. So makes sense. They didn't go out and sign somebody to get ready this year and go, let's bring in somebody who's never done it in an NFL game. Well, this guy was out there available. Yeah. Let's bring him in. Veteran, 10 years experience. Maybe he's as good, not as good. We'll find out. The Eagles moved on from him for a reason. Maybe that was just, veteran. You're paying him a lot more money than maybe a rookie or a younger guy. So he knows what he's doing. He's been around the game. But the timing of it, how long or how quickly do you think they can get acclimated to the timing of the snap and when Cameron Dicker takes his first step, all of those things? Because I think that's an underrated part of it. And, when he asks for the snap and it comes back, that kicker's got to time it to where that ball's going to be there and put down so he doesn't have to rush his kick or stall his kick based on how quickly that thing's getting back to the holder.
Yeah, well, he has to, as a kicker, he has to just trust that operation is going to take care of itself. Mm-hmm. And with it being Lovato and him having been in the league, they'll be fine there for a degree. But the fact is the timing that they're not going to have worked together that much. So it won't be perfect. It won't be as good as it could be later on down the line. But that's interesting that all this is going on because, again, this is one of those things that, as long as you don't hear about the long snapper and the holder and everything's going fine. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, it's kind of an issue. Yeah,
it's different happening at this time rather than a few years ago. I think the beginning of the 2022 season, the Bengals lost their long snapper in the middle of the game, and they had a backup long snapper, and they ended up missing 2 field goals late and lost that game at home. And by a couple of rough snaps. I think one was like rolled back because it was the backup long snapper, emergency long snapper. You lost him in the game. This one, you've got Lovato. He's done it. So it may not be as big of a deal. But Kendall, I'm already calling it. The script is out there that, the Chiefs are going to be up 30-28 late in the game, and the Chargers are going to be driving, and they're going to get to the 30-yard line, and they're going to be kicking a field goal as time expires, and Lovato and the snap is going to be off a little bit, and it's going to be too close to the holder, and he tries to grab it, and he sort of fumbles it a little bit, and they miss the kick, and it's like, of course, bad snap is how the Chiefs won game number 1? Of course. I'm already calling it. The script is in, Kendall.
I can't disagree. I think that's very plausible, and not surprised it came from you. I mean,
airtight.
You put a lot of time into that, quite honestly.
Airtight theory. Airtight. I have approached this from every angle. There's no other way it could happen. Kendall Gammon in the Zone, brought to you by Crown Toyota, Crown Volkswagen, recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference. Kendall, appreciate it as always, brother. Excited to get our conversation started. Next week, we will be talking a lot about the matchup with the Chiefs and the Chargers and what you think of that, as that will be game day. Safe travels back here to KC, and we'll talk soon, brother.
Sounds good. Take care. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. There's Kendall Gambin joining us here in the Zone on this Friday. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. We'll hear from Andy Reid. We'll hang out with Mick Schaefer. We got the cuts before the show is over. More Zone coming up next. Thank you to Kendall Gammon. He is there in Wisconsin licking his wounds. We'll see what that looks like for Pitt State moving forward. 913-912-4810. Andy Reid.
Northwest has zero room to talk after last night.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking to the former Pitt State gorilla, Kendall Gammon is who we talked to. That's all I'm saying.
At least they lost the number 1 team. Northwest lost the number 4 team.
Yeah,
but it was
right?
it was equally not close.
They did not go Gorillas.
I don't know.
No
I
go
feel
Gorillas, no go Bearcats.
But here's the
Neither
thing.
Bearcat won last night.
But here's the thing. You can't beat the other team and the refs. I mean, I'm tired of this Division II conspiracy against Northwest to try to, let's make it more fair for everybody else. That's
If Joel ever asked Danny Duffy what the Cincinnati mascot is, he'd say it's a Bearcat, Joel.
It's a Bearcat.
It's a Bearcat, Joel.
It's a Bearcat, Joel. All right, let's hear from Andy Reid. He was a Cougar at BYU, and his press conference. This is a Monday for them. It's a Friday for us, a Monday for them. When's your Monday, Mick?
Sundays.
Sundays are your Mondays. That's right.
Yep.
But then Tuesday, you're going to be here on our Monday. Your Tuesday, our Monday. You'll be here at Labor Day.
My Tuesday.
Yeah, his
we're
Tuesday's
gonna
Monday.
vibe.
That's
yeah,
right.
you guys are laboring through that day.
This is my Saturday. I'm here on.
God, he's so nice. Look at you, man. Andy Reid started off the press conference, his Zoom, and he opened up with the thoughts on the trip to Brazil.
Listen, we look forward to the challenge of playing the Chargers. It's obviously, it's in Brazil. We look forward to traveling south there and having an opportunity to play internationally. It's quite a privilege. So we're kind of rounding the team out now as we put all the pieces together for practice squad and then finalizing that part of it so we can get underway. Today is an off day for the players and very similar to a Monday. And then we'll start a normal week here starting tomorrow and get ourselves ready to travel on Thursday or Wednesday. And then Thursday we'll have a walkthrough down in Brazil there and then play on Friday. So we're 1 week away from it, and we're, again, looking forward to putting this week together here. Anyways, I don't have any injuries. Jalen continues to work to get himself better. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it'd be a real rush for this week for sure. So it doesn't look like he'll probably make this week, but should be ready to go as we go down the road here. So anyways, with that, time's yours.
Hey, Coach, I'll have one other one, Sid, if I can.
Okay.
Big part of your program is the routine, and I know you talked a little bit about the schedule. I guess, is there any more little details that you're trying to implement here to make it as routine as possible, just given you're playing on Friday night in Brazil?
Sure. So if you take tomorrow and just pretend like it's a Tuesday, today would be a Monday, tomorrow's a Tuesday. We'll go through the week off of that type of a schedule. And then we'll just block out that Wednesday as a travel day. I mean, it's a 10-hour plus trip there, so that one we'll just give to the airlines, and then we'll go ahead and pick it back up on Thursday down there and do the walkthrough part of it.
And then the other one is you're right.
And then the rest of it will stay consistent. We'll try to keep the times consistent. There's only a 2-hour difference, so. We should be able to keep things, relatively consistent going forward.
And then the other one, I know you have your doubts about Royals, and it seems like Juju might be the next in line to fill that Rasheed role. I guess in your eyes, what makes him so well positioned for that?
Yeah, well, Juju had a great camp, and he mentioned to you guys, he's in the best shape he's been in a long time. So he feels very good, and we have a lot of trust in him, but most of all, Patrick has a lot of trust in him. He can fill in that role for sure. And then you've got a healthy Hollywood, and they can play for you. And Ty came out and had a good camp for us, so he's another one.
All right, so Andy Reid there. The news is about Jalen Royals, obviously, saying that, he continues to work, but then offered We'll see how it goes. It would be a rush for him to play in this game. Doesn't look like he'll be ready. So Jalen Royals is not playing, as we sort of discussed that, they keep 8 guys.
8's down to 6 now.
8 is down to 6, and hopefully Hollywood is good to go as well. So 8 down to 6. But we also talked about Juwan Taylor did not make the trip to Seattle. And Matt Derrick asked Juwan Taylor about, was it the surface? Was it, the knee and just not going? And he said, well, the flights and those longer flights are tougher on my knee, and I get it drained and stuff like that. And he talked about what he's going to have to do with that long flight to Brazil. And what I said was,
drive.
Right. I said, madden that thing. Just get in your bus and madden it. No, what I said was, well, then why would you think about taking Jalen Royals down there if he's already battling knee tendinitis and he's working through it and he's not going to be 100%? Is he going to be a guy that has to be down there with you, that you absolutely need to win that game? Is he going to be such a big part of the game plan? Or, dude, you don't need to be on a flight for 20 hours between Wednesday and Saturday. We don't need you 20 hours on a flight. When Juwan Taylor...
Is it 20 hours?
He said 10-hour flight. So 10 hours there, 10 hours back.
Gotcha.
So we don't, and Juwan Taylor didn't want to go to Seattle and back if he didn't have to. So it's certainly something to watch with Juwan Taylor, definitely, because he was talking about the compression sleeves and everything he's going to have to do to prepare for that flight. There's no reason for Jalen Royals to go down to Brazil. No
I don't
reason
think so.
By
the way, you cannot drive to Sao Paulo from here.
Challenge not accepted, actually. No.
Something called the Darien Gap. The northern part of South America.
Okay.
There are no roads that go through there. So you can make it across the Panama Canal, we've learned.
It's
right?
easy. Yeah, canal
you
that
can do
thing.
it.
Yeah.
Make sure the bridge is down.
Panama.
Could you take a ferry across the Darien Gap?
Darien Gap is like forest.
Mm-hmm.
It's a remote and roadless 60-mile stretch of dense rainforest, swamps, and mountains located on the border of Colombia and Panama. Acting as the only land-based pathway between North and South America in an infamous,
You get out and
dangerous
walk and
migration route.
Dodge pythons and like.
Is it related to
gators.
is it like the Cumberland Gap?
No, because like in the Cumberland Gap, you could actually traverse through, right?
Yeah,
that's a
that's
way
true.
to
You
get
can.
through the
Yeah.
mountains. This
Yep.
gap, it's lying to you. It's not a gap. It's a
right.
full-on stop sign.
It is a inhospitable terrain, including dangerous wildlife.
No hospitals there either.
No hospitals that I know of. Difficult river crossings. I'll have to fact check that one. And extreme weather.
Yeah.
Wow, so the weather even goes crazy
South
there?
American rainforest. I believe all that.
And apparently there's risks of violence, extortion, and death.
Again, South America checks out. So it's crazy. We can get through the Panama Canal, but you can't get through the Darien Gap. So he would need to be on a plane for at least a little bit of time.
Darien Gap is a dangerous, roadless expanse of swampy jungle and mountains
I just
separating
said this.
South and Central
Like I
America.
literally
forming
just
a
did it.
Different
break
Wikipedia
in the
page.
Pan-American Highway. The area is known for extreme difficulty in crossing with high rates of violence, disease, and death. You didn't say that. Especially
really?
for the hundreds
Really
of thousands of migrants who traverse it annually, though this number has recently fallen dramatically.
Wow, Jason, thanks for enlightening me
Thank
on
you.
that.
You're welcome. Yeah. About time somebody got to the bottom of the Darien Gap.
Who
Jeez.
covers the Darien Gap? You think like Mike Pinnell could block the Darien Gap? Is he...
The chief secondary, because water covers whatever percentage of the earth, and our secondary covers the rest. It's a no-fly zone.
2019 Chiefs wanted to create a Darien Gap anytime they could for Darian Williams.
They have the brown-headed spider monkey, the Central American tapir,
Guy, don't drive through there. Don't walk through there.
and the great green macaw.
Macaw.
I think that's the least of your worries.
Oh,
Sounds
they have
like
an ocelot. Dude, I've always wanted to see an ocelot. Salvador Dali had an ocelot.
Okay.
Okay, sure. I'll take
Name,
your word
I
for
think,
it.
Babu.
I just said that. I just talked about the ocelots, and you didn't listen. Jesse
I
Newell
wanna
talks
see
about
a
ocelots.
little ocelots.
He
A
talks,
few ocelots.
Ocelotl.
Ocelotls.
I'll see an ocelotl. Jesse Newell talked to Andy Reid and asked him about the news that has ocelotted all the way across the world. Travis Kelce getting engaged to Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Jesse. Listen, I'm happy for him. It's hard to find somebody that you fall in love with. That's not an easy thing, and to really fall in love. And it seems like they're there, and I think it's a great deal for both of them. And they like being around each other, and that's a plus. I think they're both busy people in their own right. And both are very famous in their own right. So it's kind of neat that they come together and handle themselves the way they do.
We'll go next to Sam McDowell.
Hey, Andy. Since we last chatted with you, Rashi's suspension has been made official. What's just been the process of preparing for both scenarios, particularly week one?
Yeah, Sam, I mean, we had an idea that something was going to happen. Whether it was now or later doesn't necessarily matter, but that something was going to happen, and it'd probably be around that 6-game area. And so we went about business full steam ahead, rotated guys in. Everybody got a chance to play. That we'll have an opportunity to play here, and so I think it was good for Rasheed to get the practice in. He'll be away for 3 weeks, and then he'll be back in the building after that to be able to work out here and just do everything but not practice. So, and then we'll get him back after 6 weeks. So, but we've got guys that are capable of playing here. We just have to go out and do it. Not that you don't miss Rasheed. I mean, he's a heck of a football player, but we have other guys that are good players too. So.
What just stands out about the camp that Rasheed did have, though?
Yeah, he had a real good camp. Who kept himself in the right frame of mind to where he could work. He wasn't moping around. Stayed positive. He's trying to do the right things. First of all, I mentioned somewhere that Rasheed's got a real good heart, and it's unfortunate that it happened. Thank goodness people weren't hurt, obviously, but lesson learned, and you move on and try to move ahead, in a positive manner, and so far he's done a nice job with that.
So he wasn't moping during training camp, had a real good camp, you said. It seemed like he had a real good camp. But they had an idea that something would happen, whether it's now or during the season. Had an idea something would happen. Yeah, I think most people did. By the way, on the Travis and Taylor Swift engagement question, the answers by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes when they were asked about Taylor Swift being on New Heights podcast are pretty revealing that they knew they were engaged at that point, because Travis had already proposed before the New Heights podcast. So they were engaged on August 10th. The podcast was August 13th. So they had already been engaged. When you go back and listen to Patrick Mahomes' answer, he said, yeah, I found out before you guys. He said, because they FaceTimed us. FaceTime Brittany, and I heard the yelling. Oh, they were yelling about her being on the podcast, or yelling about Brittany going, oh my God, you're engaged. That was the yelling. And then Patrick was like, I'm just happy for them. And then immediately he starts to go, and looking forward to seeing what's going on with the pod, what it'd be like. It's like, he was like, oh shoot, we're not talking about the engagement. We're talking about her being on the podcast. And then Andy was asked about the podcast, and he goes, it's just nice when two people find each other that you're, compatible with, and they bring out the best in each other, and they just they love being around each other. Both great people, And the podcast, like,
I would hope they tell their closest friends and their coach before all of us.
But it's just funny that they were like talking about the podcast, but I think both of them slipped into discussing the engagement, and then was like, oh wait, podcast. Now that we know they were engaged before the podcast.
Why did they miss that opportunity to reveal the engagement on the podcast?
I think he wanted to make sure that the podcast was all about her album. That nothing overshadowed the release of her album.
Or the ring bearer, potentially.
Sterling and Sterling.
The Sterling crew. Let's hear one more before we go to break. Soren Petro, in the Zoom with Andy Reid, asked Andy how the uncertainty around Rashee Rice affected them and how it might affect the preparation for the Chargers.
Yeah, sir, and I think we were okay with it because of the rotation that we had going. We were prepared for it. We don't have to change a lot of things. We've moving forward in what we were putting in the game plan. So, and then as far as their part goes, last year our first game against them, they were missing one of their big players on defense, and they made their adjustments that they need to make, and life moved on. So They're familiar with how to handle situations like this too. And in the NFL, Seren, as you know, man, you got to be ready for change. Changes happen rapidly, and whether it's an injury or a suspension or something of that sort, you got to be ready to go and still play at a high level. So our guys, the guys are excited to play and get going on this thing.
And then as far as the travel and the schedule, and you guys have had to play on every single different day and every different amount of time. And I know coaches are kind of creatures of habits. You'd probably like to play at noon every Sunday and, be able to have your routine. But does that allow, stronger teams, stronger coaching staffs to shine when there is? Because both teams have to deal with it. So does it really kind of bring out the best of the best when you're put into situations that aren't ideal for a staff?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a frame of mind. I think if you say you're being honored to actually do this because you're doing well, and that's the way you approach it. It's an honor to have an overseas game and to be able to go to Brazil, and then as opposed to, oh my gosh, what are they giving us? That attitude doesn't get you anywhere. So. You take the schedule and you turn that same thing into a positive. We're blessed to play these teams. Some of these teams, well, most of them in this league are just tremendous football teams, and the parity, and it's crazy. So it really doesn't matter who you're playing or really when you're playing. You just take it and you roll. They're doing the same thing you're doing.
The Chiefs will have 6 games this year of their 17 that will be a regular week that matched the week before. So Sunday to Sunday.
Yeah.
They'll have 6 games where they'll be like, okay, this week is the same as last week. It'll happen 6 times this year. That's it out of 17 weeks. So, 11 different times we're going to be saying, okay, this is their Tuesday, but it's our Wednesday, or this is their Thursday, but it's our Tuesday, whatever. It's going to be a lot of that. By the way, I should point out that the question from Seren was how it would affect the Chargers preparing for the Chiefs when they may have spent time preparing for Rashee Rice, and then now he's not there.
Oh, okay.
So as he said, from their perspective and their standpoint. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear a little bit more from Andy Reid hanging out with Mick Schaefer on this Friday edition. Mick Schaefer is presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. More Zone next. Hanging out with Mick Schaefer. He's presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. It's a cool spot. You know what? You can go there and watch the KU game while your kids play video games and stuff.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds. Get some food. They play. Get out of my hair, kids. And then you can hang out with the adults and drink some beverages and watch the KU game. K-State tomorrow. Mizzou in action last night. They won 61-6.
Man.
The news.
Vegas had it wrong at 40.5.
Idiots. I got it at 37.5.
We got to point it out that when they get it wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was like, you know what?
I
Two
loved
quarterbacks, defense often ahead of offense. I'm gonna take Central Arkansas on this, and that was dumb. At halftime, I'm like, well, that was dumb.
I took them minus the points. I took Missouri one because Eli does like to cover in these games.
He did. I thought about that
too.
too.
Because there have been a couple times when he's rushed for a touchdown late to cover the number for, hey, you know what? I know the alumni are betting on us, so I want to pay back the alumni because more money they have, they can donate to us. And also my theory going into the game was with two different style quarterbacks and not wanting Kansas to know who they're actually going to start, that when they had Brady Cook and Sam Horn 3 years ago, I guess it would have been, or 2 years ago, whatever, when they had Brady Cook and Sam Horn, they played Middle Tennessee State week 2 before they played K-State. So by the time they played K-State, the Wildcats would have known who the starting quarterback was anyway. So coming out of that first game, he named Brady Cook as the starter.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect him to name a starter coming out of this game, so I thought to continue that strategy, you'd have to have a legit second half running offense with Sam Horn, where you didn't do that 2 years ago with Brady Cook. So I thought, okay, they're going to keep scoring.
Submarining defender ruined that plan.
Yeah, that sucked.
Is there a word on that?
I haven't seen. They just said last night.
Just from
sounded
reading between
ominous.
the lines of Drinkwitz's comments, did not sound good.
Sam Horn and Blake Craig.
The same thing happened. I know everybody was paying attention to UT Martin and Oklahoma State last night, which I did win, picking UT Martin to cover on that one,
Nice
and
work.
Cincinnati covering as
Yeah.
well.
I just took Nebraska money line because I couldn't get a read on that game. I thought Nebraska would win, but I couldn't get a read on it. So
we did the same thing. We did this because we
I
wanted
took Missouri
plus.
minus the points and Nebraska money line.
Dude, that one guy's shirt
win.
was so great. Nebraska football, we almost always almost win.
It was really good. All right,
O State lost there. Did
they?
Second string quarterback wins the job in camp and was killing it. 2 straight drives. He was looking like Prbula.
Yeah.
Good thrower, but a better runner. And runs out to a 14-0 lead and then breaks a bone in his foot.
Oh.
And then the backup comes in, who was supposed to be the starter, and things flatline.
And you're like, oh, that's why he didn't win the job.
So he's out 5 weeks.
That's tough, man. That's great. If we get an update on Blake Craig and Sam Horn, we'll certainly pass it along if we see that. I think there's real concern. I think Sam Horn, the hay's kind of in the barn. I think we know what's going to happen there. But the unknown on Blake Craig.
It didn't look like a sprained ankle. You know
and Blake Craig is such a weapon for Mizzou. And if you lose your kicker, that's like automatic from 45 out. That's rough. So we'll see what happens this weekend. But you can go check out all the college football. We've got Ohio State and Texas right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. If you're going to be driving around, I know flag football, tackle football on the weekend, soccer, baseball, things like that. If you're going to be out and about and not being able to watch the game, Sports Radio 810 WHB has the huge kickoff for the season with Texas and Ohio State. We'll hear a few more clips of Andy Reid in the next segment. We'll get into a little Royals talk, some college football talk, and Doug Farrar is a pretty good analyst in the NFL. I like him. I followed him. I think he completely missed the boat on his he has a rankings list of the top players in the NFL.
Oh,
it's a new thing. It's a new thing. People are coming out with rankings. And he released his 1 through 10. I think he's really missed the boat on this thing, and we'll get into that. And also his excusing Joe Burrow. Kind of want to push back on that. But Andy Reid next. All right, we continue on this Friday edition, hanging out with Mick Schaefer. He is presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Big college football weekend. KU and Wagner coming up tonight. 5 o'clock is
Wagner, I think.
Oh, that's
Like
a good point. That is a good point. It is
Do
Wagner.
you want to know Wagner's biggest football alum, most well-known football alum?
Mr. Wagner.
He's a coach in the NFL now, and he's had run-ins with the Chiefs.
Run-ins?
In the playoffs.
McDermott?
He is a coordinator.
Oh, coordinator. Okay. Lou Anarumo?
Lou Anarumo.
Wow. Wagner.
He's at the Colts now, is that right?
Is he going to be at the game tonight, you think?
I hope so.
Why wouldn't he be? I mean, come on. Let's get some shine for
I
your
think
team.
I thought it was wild that Travis and Taylor were at the game last
Taylor,
night.
Jason, Chris Oladokin was there. Jared
Trey
Wiley was
Smith,
there. Trey
Patrick
Smith.
Mahomes.
Creed. Pacheco.
Yeah.
They had a lot of people there in attendance. Brian Cook, randomly. Why was he there? Just joking. He went to Cincinnati. I get it, everybody.
Big Red and Big Red was there.
That's right. Yeah, they were both.
The
Go
drink?
Big Red.
Who's that?
The drink, Big Red?
Yes.
No, the
Kool-Aid
coach
Man
and the team.
I love Big Red. You know what I'm talking about? The drink? It's very Southern Indiana, Kentucky. I figured Jason would know what I'm talking about. I love Big Red.
Big Red and Vines. Also, Pib and Red Vines equal crazy delicious, but also you can throw the Big Red and that Red Vines is pretty good too. All right, so that's tonight, 5 o'clock, our coverage for KU and Wagner, and then tomorrow, Texas, Ohio State at 11 o'clock on 8:10. ESPN Kansas City has Syracuse versus Tennessee, and then on Sunday, South Carolina versus Virginia Tech at 2 o'clock. Catholics Convicts 6:30 right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, and then Monday, Labor Day, 7 o'clock. Here on 810, it is TCU versus North Carolina. It is Bill Belichick and his lovely significant other's debut.
Is she allowed to be at the game?
Of age girlfriend?
Yes, absolutely.
Totally of age.
I hope she's on the sideline.
Better than Seinfeld.
I hope she's on the
Just
sideline.
glossed over him dating a 17-year-old.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I hope she's on the sideline. Won't be a distraction at all. Let's hear from Andy Reid. A couple of more clips. Nick Jacobs. Where does he work? I know that name.
Heard of him.
I know that name.
He works for the company called 41 is the Mic.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. With Matt
He's the
Derrick, 41 is the mic.
CEO, co-founder of it,
yeah,
really.
41 is the mic. And that's all he does is that podcast. He doesn't do anything else. That's cool. But he asked Andy Reid about setting the right tempo to start the season.
Well, it's always good to come off and get a good start for sure. I think we're all 32 of us are trying to do that. Come out of the gates and play well. However, when they say you use that O-line mastermind thing, and you say you'd better take every week as its own separate thing, and you better keep pounding as you go through the year. So, but you sure would like to come out and play well. I mean, for sure. Yeah.
And then from a team identity perspective, from your experience, how long do you feel it kind of takes for the team to kind of get into who they are for that year?
Yeah, normally it takes a couple weeks, Nick. And so, and I think that's probably for most teams. Now, we've got a lot of guys coming back, so, maybe that cuts it down a little bit. But just to get yourself in rhythm, and now you're taking it up a notch from what you were doing at training camp. And so sometimes you got to work through that just a tick, but we should be okay there.
Yeah, it's a good question about when you sort of establish that identity of, all right, this is what we're going to have to go with. Because I think it took a little bit for the Chiefs last year to be like, okay, this is what we're going to have to deal with this offensive line, and no Rashee Rice, and when does Hollywood come back? This is a different Kelsey. Pacheco's gone. Like, that identity changed a number of times.
A lot of those things might be the same this year.
So it's like
offensive line, when's Rashee back? Hollywood, Kelsey's different.
He's better. He's different than he was last year. So hopefully, yes, which was different than this
Jason
would be better.
now the tight end. They just decided to swap. It's like Markeith and Marcus. Like no one's gonna know, but it's Jason and Travis. No one's gonna know.
Nobody would know. Andy Reid continued and says that he's excited to see how Josh Simmons will respond to his first regular season start.
Yeah, Todd, I think I think we just let him go, get him out there, let him get this experience going forward. This group's got two good defensive ends, and So it'll be a nice challenge for him. And I'll probably be saying that every week through the season here. But it's his first year, so there are going to be things that he hasn't seen before, and he's got to fight through that. But he's a talented kid, and he's willing. He wants to do well, and he's worked very hard. Excuse me, he's worked very hard to get himself into this position right here to be the starter. So I told him after training camp, my hat goes off to the kid for he didn't miss a day. From the time he started in the OTAs till throughout this camp, where he's tried to bear down. But there'll be some things in there, some hiccups in there, I'm sure. But he sure is willing to play.
The same thing with Kingsley. Looks like he's made really good progression for you throughout the camp. With the position change, I mean, is it like a little Christmas morning? So you want to see this with the real stuff going?
Yeah, no, Kingsley's worked very hard this offseason. He feels comfortable in there at that spot, but I'd tell you it's new, and there are going to be things in there. He seems to be working well with Creed and Josh, but again, this is a good defense, one of the top defenses in the league last year, and now they've got to step into that and play good football, and so that's what we're going to practice each week here, and hopefully the continuity continues to grow there with the three of them.
That's the hope. Let's hope that happens, that Kingsley will continue to grow and figure out how he fits in that offensive line, things that he needs to do. Brett Veach talking about that yesterday with Kingsley and him just getting used to the speed at which things happen at guard in the regular season, that you might have the scheme and an understanding of what they're going to do, but you take one step that's sort of wrong, they hit you in a certain way a little bit quicker than you expected, now you're off balance, and it looks really bad. Yeah. Well, you got to adjust to that, because there have been a couple times where he was off balance and it looked really bad.
Yeah, in the preseason.
Yeah. So,
and now they're going to be game planning for you. And if you know anything about the NFL, they'll find the weakest spot.
No.
And put pressure on that spot.
Yeah, but they didn't see
over
this.
and over again.
There's zero chance the Chargers saw Kingsley. They're like, no, he's looked good.
There's one thing we know, though. The Harbaughs typically don't prepare much.
I'm sure they're not a football family or anything like that.
They kind of just wing it.
Just fell into this.
It's just a fly-by-night organization. They just kind of just like, let's figure it out. Let's go. You guys get open. You be working, Let's hear from Andy Reid in his last clip, and he was asked about what sort of atmosphere he expects in Brazil.
Yeah, Omar, you know what? I think when you play these international games in particular, your juices are going, especially when it's the first game, your juices are going, yes. But it's also the noise. Is it going to be, you got to be ready for a silent count. You got to be ready for, your normal snap count. I just watched the Nebraska-Cincinnati game. They played right here at Arrowhead, and Cincinnati was the home team, but all the Nebraska people were here, and it was louder than all get out for Cincinnati. So you just have to, you can have a little bit of that where it's just this constant noise, and you got to be ready for that part of it. So on both sides of the ball, really.
Yeah, because typically if you're going to L.A. to face the Chargers, you don't have to worry about a silent count.
No.
You don't have to worry about that.
You got to make sure all the Chiefs fans there are quiet when you're on offense.
Hey, quiet, audible zone. Remember they used to put that up do they still put that up at Arrowhead on the banner? It used to be all the time, and like up on the scoreboard, it used to be like, quiet, audible zone.
Like, everybody knows by now,
I think we're all aware of what football. Hold on. They're calling an audible down there? Hey, guys, he might check at the line of scrimmage. You need to shut up. You need to stop talking here.
I feel like it's built into fandom, too. Like, because whenever your team is about to snap the ball, you're at a hush. Yeah. You're anticipating.
Right.
You're naturally quiet. You're ready for the next thing. You can't wait. You're attentive.
I've always wondered, in baseball, though, you can be loud both sides when your team is hitting or pitching.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no
that's a good point.
Quietness.
That's a great point.
For hitters, you don't want you want it loud because you don't want it to be the and then all of a sudden the pitcher hitter
you don't want it to be what?
You know what I'm talking about? You don't want to startle the guy.
Yeah, right.
That'll
startle somebody.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, you have that raw, but on defense in the NFL, you have that raw sort of screaming and yelling like tear his head off, let's go. But when they're on offense, it's like, can I get the wine cooler over there? I'll have a little bit of tea. Yep, a little bit. Can I have it in a small little cup right there? That's fine. Okay. Defense, murder him. Break his entire will to live. Yes, son. What do you need? You want popcorn? Okay, let's go and get to Playfield. You suck. You want some? You want some Big Red? We got some Big Red here. Boy, it was a cool atmosphere though last night. I will say that. Like it was loud.
We had Mackenzie Nelson out there. She ran out to cover it.
Yeah.
And it was shooting some stand-ups in the parking lot. She came back. She's like, that might have been worse than a Chiefs game, trying to get in the parking lot and out. Yeah. She's like,
completely sold out.
I was like, it might have been the B team security there running cars in and out. But yeah, I believe it in that place was packed at the very end. You didn't see an open seat in sight. In Cincinnati, if you're going to play Nebraska in a neutral site game, don't go 3 hours away from Lincoln.
Seems odd to a place where they have a decent
that's your
alumni group.
That's your home game.
It's a decent. It's not like K-State
Go
was a
east
home
of
game
Cincinnati.
against Iowa State and was like, you know what? Let's go to Oddly enough, Dublin is one of the biggest Iowa State alumni bases outside of Iowa. Let's go there. Oh wait, how is this a road game atmosphere? This is
could
odd.
have played in your own city.
Yeah.
There's an NFL team right there.
Yeah. But it was Paycor, whatever it was.
So true.
Could have played right there.
They need money.
Yes.
Like
Such
you
a
could
great
have
point.
played there.
Why wouldn't you just play it right there? I'm glad they played it here, though. It's good for the economy, and smart that the Royals have Nebraska night tonight out at Kauffman Stadium.
Well done.
That's very well planned.
Yeah, because I know
Nice
there's a few people that came in town that I knew came in town, and they're staying the weekend, and so they're going to the Royals game tonight and doing the whole sort of
That's
shebang.
awesome. So bet on the Royals to have some.
Could be a really good atmosphere.
Yeah,
tonight.
good atmosphere.
Yeah,
Vinny, I feel like Vinny is a guy who comes through with big time atmosphere. I feel like he's a guy
coming through at all times.
It feels like he really feeds off of that. I feel like this Royals team, you always have that certain feeling with certain teams, right? Where you can feel like 14 and 15, they fed off of excitement. They didn't crumble. Some teams, that Astros team that the Royals played, that was too much for them. Remember in 14 or 15, they couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
I think this Royals team, they like the pressure. You look at some of the numbers late in games offensively, feels like it's starting to pick up for a lot of these guys.
Yeah. So that's just, by the way, a shout out to the Royals. It's smart. Like, okay, Nebraska and Cincinnati are playing on Thursday night. Let's make Friday night against the Tigers, Nebraska
Do we
night.
make it Bearcat night or Cornhusker night? What do we do? Let's turn on the game and just figure out which shade of red is there more. Let's listen.
But it's also the
I don't
Bobby
remember
Witt,
hearing
it's also
anything.
Bobby Witt Jr. giveaway tonight, the bobblehead.
Okay.
So it's the third of the bobblehead series that they're giving away. So you got the Bobby Witt bobblehead third giveaway tonight, game one against the Tigers, and Nebraska night. So unless there's some random Nebraska people that are Tigers fans, to hell with you guys. I mean, come on, man. Get the hell out of there. You can't buy it. You're not allowed, actually. You have to check your fandom at the door. That's what they say. Visiting with Mick Schaefer, hanging out. It is Michael Waka on the mound tonight, taking on Chris Paddock, or as I wrote it here, Christ Paddock. So that's going to be tough.
It's not the second one.
Yeah, they've got him on their side. I feel like it's maybe it'll be pronounced Christ. So, do you see the accidental T I put there?
I'm not Christ anymore. I go by Topher. It's the last part of my name.
He's got a sub-5 ERA though at 4.98. So good for him with Chris Paddock.
Waka, knock on wood, has been the most consistent guy. Just stay that way, and go at this point. Go win some series against some good teams, against some teams above 500, because you haven't really done that this year. You're going to have to do that if you make the playoffs, if you want to advance, obviously. Go show that you can do that, because it's time. You got a month left here.
Yeah,
time to get rid of, what is it, 3.5? Three
right now.
3 games back at the Mariners, and 5 of the Yankees.
And they play the Mariners in a 3-game set coming up, and so you sweep that. You have the season series over Seattle too.
Just 2 out of 3 the rest of the way.
I say sweep it.
I say
why settle?
2 out of 3 the rest of the way.
I say don't lose another
Mediocrity.
game.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
are. You guys
Well, you know what?
set your sights higher. Just
That's
don't
so
lose.
smart.
Just go 97 and 65.
I feel like that puts too much pressure on them. 2 out of 3, like, yeah, we can do that.
How much-
It's like telling
What?
Paul O'Neill to hit 2 home runs.
Wait, you're telling me 28 games left. You're telling me 28-0 is not feasible. That seems totally normal.
Yeah.
Kyle Schwarber, they said hit 3, and he goes, that's
I'll hit
unrealistic.
Has there
I'll hit
ever been
4.
a 28-game win streak in Major League Baseball?
Not to my knowledge.
They happen all the time.
22 or something like that?
Sterling.
22. I thought
They
Cleveland had.
Cleveland
28-game
rings a
winning
bell.
streaks happen all the time, Sterling. Okay, so that's easy. You can knock off 28 straight games in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? That's totally fine. And you're right, Kyle Schwarber, it's like, hey, hit 3 home runs. He's like, I'm going to hit 4. And then when they bring in the position player to throw to me, I'm going to fly out. He hit 4 home runs
More
off.
position players should pitch, by
He
the
hit
way.
4 home runs off of actual
Major League
pitchers.
Yes.
And then they brought in a position
More
player,
position
and he popped it
players
up to the outfield.
Like as a strategy in a close game.
Here we
Bring
go.
him in the 7th.
The longest winning streak in MLB history was 26 games by the New York Giants
Told you.
in 1916. Though the streak did
60 or
include
16?
26. Oh, 1916. Yeah.
16, yeah.
But it did include a tied game. So
Yeah, what are we doing?
Yeah,
What are we
so
doing?
that's
Was it an all-star game?
asterisk. So then the real one is
Cleveland.
Cleveland 22.
Okay. And then the A's.
And
Ooh,
what
so
year was
close.
that?
2017.
2017.
The Cubs in
That
1935
basically ended the Royals' chances of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
In 17, like, okay, they're going to make it. And then
Yeah.
Indians
that-
at the time went
Right,
off.
they had that crazy because the Royals made the trades, and it's like, okay, they're right
Yeah,
there,
right
and then they weren't there anymore.
I mean, I think the Royals
and
are
then we
as-
weren't boyfriend girlfriends anymore.
I thought the Royals are as good as the 1880 Chicago White Stockings, who
That's
won 21 straight.
what they've been compared
18
to throughout the
1880s.
season, yeah.
By the way, I just want to take a time out just so I can laugh a little bit more at that random drop in that I know Mick loved, and I'm not sure who else liked that, but we'll take a time out. What's up next? All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Mick Schaefer presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Heading up until 2 o'clock, handing it off to the program. They've got you until 5 o'clock with KU pregame starting right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. 45.5. 56.5 is the total. 45.5 KU's favored by tonight against Wagner.
That's a lot of points.
Boy, it is a lot of points.
Lot of
K-State,
points.
25.5 tomorrow against North Dakota. Well, no, it's North Dakota there. They're not in North Carolina. But 45.5 is a lot.
Wait, over under or for them to win by?
KU's favored by 45.5. The total is 56.5.
Yeah, they're basically saying
46-10.
It's going to be
It would have to be six. What Mizzou did.
It would not
Well,
have
that's
to be that,
67.
It's not.
Or 65. Sorry. 65.
56. 55.
50. No, I'm talking about the total.
Oh, okay.
The total was 67.
They beat
61
Fresno
to 6
State
was-
by 24, but Fresno State's a pretty good decent program.
Mm-hmm.
Connecting the dots so far.
So are you talking about
And
the
Wagner's
K-State 25.5?
FCS.
Man.
Nobody's.
Yeah, take KU minus
What's
the
going on
points,
in your
Dave.
head right now, Sterling?
Take KU minus the points.
We can't hear it.
If you're going to bet,
I feel
what
like
game are you looking at?
if you're going to bet,
And what are you
bet on KU minus the points.
I'm looking at 2022 South Carolina versus Missouri.
South Carolina.
No, I
Take
45.5 is a lot of points, dog.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to bet it. I'm saying if you're going to bet it, you take KU minus the points. You don't bet on Wagner hoping that they'll get a late score or that their crappy
They're not
defensive
even
line.
Central Arkansas, I believe, in the FCS
like
ranks.
is Wagner
I'd take KU.
if Lance Leipold takes the foot off the gas and just hands it off, is Wagner good enough to simply stop the handoffs and guys? Because who the backups are for KU, they want to impress. Is their time to shine?
My side on that is like I was really impressed by KU's defense. They should have thrown a shutout last week. So if they do throw a shutout this week, I think they cover.
I think
they're going to have more than 45
I think
points.
KU
Fine, you swayed me.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
No, I think KU
a
can
lot of
name their. I
points.
think they can.
Oh, now I'm back on the
lot
fence.
of points.
Like Missouri, I thought could name their points. Like you pick the number of points you want, and I think KU can do that tonight.
It was slow for a while. It was 9-0 forever. I'm like, hey,
That is so many points. I take the under, and I love KU.
The under of 56.5?
Yeah, I'd take the under.
I'd take the over on that one. Well, no, I mean, if you're talking about the defense shutting them out, and if this thing, boy, I'd hate to have like a 52-0 win for KU and lose on the total. It would suck.
I feel if you take KU, you would take the over too because it's so close there.
I think I would. I think I might take KU and
garbage
not take
touchdown
the,
or something like that.
What
by
was the
Wagner.
line for KC? I haven't found
25.5.
25, yeah.
55.5 is the
Can
Dakota
K-State get
schools
to
can play.
25?
That's the question. Like how?
No,
how many points?
K-State's plus 25.5.
He
yeah,
knows
they
that.
love.
Yeah,
they
I'm
love.
saying can K-State
they
even
love.
get to 25 points?
It's on the offensive side.
Yeah, they
for
love North
K-State.
Dakota. Yeah, they've got North Dakota favored by 25.5 in this one. It's a big one there. No, 25.5, and
They got who's South Dakota play? Like I think they play Iowa State. It's a closer spread than you would think. And the one I took like Hawaii is getting like 14 points at Arizona, maybe the worst team in the Big 12, and Hawaii coming off that win over Stanford.
It might be-
I took
that might be- I don't
Rainbow
know.
Warriors.
I don't
there.
know. That
it
fe-
could be a sucker
that
bet.
feels like a sucker
when
bet.
I sound like it's so obvious.
It feels like a sucker
That's what
bet.
you say right before you make a sucker bet.
The reason it feels like a sucker bet is there's no belief in Arizona, and I think there might be an overreaction to Hawaii having like 7 things fall in their favor to beat Stanford. And it's like, hold on, Hawaii just beat Stanford, and now they're playing a terrible team in the Big 12. Although then Hawaii goes there and wins by 3 touchdowns, and like, darn it, seemed like free money, and it was. But yeah, I like. If I'm taking the points, I'll take K-State and KU minus the points tonight.
It's now 17.5 is what Arizona's favored over Hawaii.
Yeah.
So you got it. Okay.
Well, I might be misremembering, but whatever I saw, I'm like, that is.
So the money's
that
coming
is
in on Arizona.
A lot.
Yeah. So the money is. So there you go. At least that's enough to make the line move.
Well, I don't know that it moved. It might have been 17.5.
I didn't know they were the Rainbow Warriors. I thought they were just the Warriors.
No, that's Golden State. So yeah, they although Hawaii did hit a 3 at the end to win, so it's a lot like the Warriors of Golden State. So Doug Farrar writes for SB Nation, and I think Doug typically does good work, and he does his research, and it's not like hot take, clickbait stuff. But while I respect him, I think this list he has really, really missed the mark. And I don't, because again, I don't think he's a clickbait guy. But he's got his top 100 players in the NFL, and this morning he put out his top 10, 1 through 10, the last parts of it. So let's go through. Number 1, he's got Lamar Jackson. Okay, whatever. Number 2, though, he has Myles Garrett. Okay, that's fine. But number 3, then you get into Saquon Barkley. And then number 4, that's when you go to Josh Allen. And then number 5, okay, finally you get Joe Burrow. But number 6, you finally get to the obvious Dexter Lawrence.
Patrick Mahomes,
Dexter Lawrence for the
Dexter
Giants.
Dexter Lawrence is
at number 6.
Come on, what are you doing?
Then, after all of that, you get to Micah Parsons, number 7. And Patrick Mahomes, number 8.
Wow.
I'm disappointed a little bit.
So is this just
in
a
him.
reaction to last season?
100%,
or
dude.
Is it best player? Because if it is, that's ridiculous. If you're just reacting to last season.
But it's like he then puts clips there to like back up like the argument and the reasoning, right? And he puts 4 clips there for Mahomes, and it's like Patrick Mahomes' deep passes waylaid by weird throws and miscommunications. And it's like, well, one of the deep passes was he got to his back foot. The left tackle was already beat, and he immediately had to run up to the pocket and then was about to get hit, and he threw the ball down the sideline, and it was overthrown. I'm like, you're counting that as like a Patrick Mahomes like issue
you
there?
can cherry pick just about any argument you want, right?
Yeah. There was another one where he threw it deep to Xavier Worthy, and it went like 5 yards over Worthy's head, and you're like, okay, so was that Worthy? Now, that could be where he says miscommunication, so Worthy maybe cut it short where Mahomes thought Worthy was going to be. You were getting used to Xavier Worthy. And then when he talks about Joe Burrow, like he's like, oh, Burrow manipulating the pocket, and he shows like 3 or 4 clips, and one of them, Burrow gets to his back step and then just fires it to Jamar Chase. I'm like, that's not manipulating the pocket. And then he had another one where Joe Burrow had to run around and then scrambled and then threw the ball, and the receiver was running across the field, had to stop and leap back and made like a crazy one-handed catch and came down with it. I'm like, hold on. Joe Burrow's receiver bails him out, and I don't think it's, like, people are going to say immediately clickbait, and he's doing that. But I don't think that's who he is. I think he's just completely missing the mark on this with Mahomes as the 8th best player in the NFL. First of all, I think you can go to top 10 before you get to a position player if you really want to go to, like, best players in the NFL. But Dexter Lawrence, I mean, a running back, like Saquon's awesome, but, I mean, come on, over Patrick Mahomes. And he has him as the 4th best quarterback in the NFL entering 20. And he even says every year it's been Mahomes. So you go from 1 to 8 based on no offensive line and wide receivers that are injured,
Super Bowl.
and losing the Super Bowl and playing one of his absolute best games of his life against the Bills in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, people gloss over that Bills
game is never
man.
talked about with Mahomes.
No,
he was unbelievable in that game. Like the quarterback rating, or the QBR, not like the QBR was like 94, 95. Like, it's one of his best games in the playoffs, and it's like. Yeah, but the spot was bad.
Yeah, on that one, remember?
So
in like the
Mahomes
third quarter?
did nothing. He did nothing because the spot was bad there in that game. And then, of course, everything he did in the Super Bowl erases anything he did in the AFC Championship game to get to said Super Bowl over the Buffalo Bills and the quarterback that you think is better.
That's the problem with having so many great moments and so many great games and so many huge wins is that you just forget. Joe Montana threw a high pass to a tight end in an NFC Championship game, and it gets played every day somewhere of this huge moment.
I mean, it was the catch.
It was the catch. Mahomes has had 150 better plays than that in big games. 150. I might be low.
Yeah.
Right. That's the problem.
Montana was scrambling. And he waited and he bought time and he was fading to his right and fading, and then he threw it last second.
I mean, it was a great play. And
It absolutely was.
The catch was phenomenal.
Right.
I think it's more
Catch is
applauded
better
for
than the
Well, I think
throw.
it is
for its time.
It's called the catch, not the throw. So it is, I think, more applauded for the catch than Montana's pass.
I guess. But
So you're saying Montana was only a product of Dwight Clark?
Wasn't there like 2 minutes left too? When that happened? How much time was left?
I don't know.
And I also
I was not born yet.
Yeah, I also well then therefore you would have no idea of anything that happened before you were born. I also want to point this out too, because I did a little deeper dive on this. When Tom Brady pointed out that, well, sometimes, you can put up a lot of numbers and then, you lose close games, and you're talking about losing close games. Well, what did you do to help your defense or whatever?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, hey, who's he talking about there? And so
Tom Brady is Mahomes' biggest stand.
Yes,
right?
he is.
He's turned into
especially for the guy that everybody's like, he's going to be better than you.
Yes, and he's the most logical one with all this. No, all these other quarterbacks are great. Pat's on a different tier.
Right.
His brain won't let him compute anything other than fact. Like Tom Brady can't be even if he
He
wanted
processes
to,
fact only.
He processes I can't say that anyone's better because I'd be a liar, and Tom Brady can't lie.
That's right. Everybody knows this. But he writes about Joe Burrow and points out all of the losses that they had where they scored a lot of points, and he said Joe Burrow was not to blame for that. Okay. Week 1 they lost. He had 160 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, and they did not score until 1:51 in the third quarter against the Patriots. They were shut out until there were 16 minutes left to play. Week 2 against the Chiefs, he had a good game numbers-wise, but the fourth quarter they were up 2. They got to midfield, and then they had to punt because of incomplete passes. And then the Chiefs went down and kicked the field goal. Imagine if he would have completed those and they kept the drive going and ran out the clock. They might have won that game, but he's not to blame for it. Week 5 at Baltimore, they lost in overtime. Amazing game. 5 touchdowns, an interception, 400 yards passing, a 137 quarterback rating. They were up 3 in the fourth quarter. Should point that out. The Bengals were. And with 3 minutes to go, up 3 in the fourth quarter at the Baltimore 33-yard line, Joe Burrow threw an interception. Up 3 in the third, his only interception.
It's not your fault.
Yeah, 3:05 to go. That was on second down, by the way, that he threw the interception. Baltimore had 1 timeout left with 3 minutes to go. Baltimore then kicked a field goal to tie it, and with 1:35 to go, they were at their own 30-yard line, all 3 timeouts, and went 3 and out. And they lost that game. But he has nothing to do with that. Joe Burrow was not to blame for that loss because the defense gave up a lot of points, and he threw 5 touchdowns. What more do you want him to do? Oh, I don't know. Nothing. At Baltimore, they lost 35-34. He was great. They scored a great late touchdown. The throw to Jamar Chase was phenomenal there. The 2-point conversion failed. He was pressured. He overthrew Gesicki. It was a tough throw. I'll give him a pass on that one, that it's they were down 7 with a minute to play. He drove them down the field, and they scored a touchdown. They went for 2 because Zach Taylor was like, we've been trailing the whole game, and we're not beating them in overtime, so let's go for 2 right now. Rough. They lost by 7 to the Chargers. He had 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. Oh, my God. But they had 6 points on the board with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. They had a crazy comeback to tie the game in the fourth quarter. Tie game. They'd get the ball 2 more times in the fourth quarter with the game tied. They were at the LA 30-yard line. Tie game. 2nd and 3rd down and 6, both incompletions. McPherson missed the field goal. Not his fault. It's 48 yards. You should make that if you're McPherson. Then they had the ball at the LA 33-yard line. 2nd and 3rd and 6 again, both incomplete. McPherson missed another field goal. Chargers went down and scored. So they could have been up 6, right, and could have won that game. He also could have extended the drive. But McPherson missing field goals, that sucks. A couple more, real quick. Versus Pittsburgh, 309 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. They were down 6. They had first down at the Pittsburgh 15-yard line. 3 passes by Joe Burrow. All incomplete. They kicked a field goal. Down 3. Burrow threw an interception. Next possession, Burrow then fumbled. Pittsburgh scoop and score. They were down 17, and he threw a touchdown. They were down. Pittsburgh got a field goal. They were down 13, and then he threw a touchdown with 30 seconds to go. So 300 yards and 3 touchdowns is awesome, except those 2 touchdowns came when he was down 17 and 13.
The Dak
he threw
Prescott
an interception. He fumbled when the game was tied. And then the Eagles, they were tied at 17. Philadelphia scored a touchdown, so they're down 7. Burrow threw an incomplete pass on 4th and 1 at his own 39. Philadelphia got a field goal. They're now down 10. Burrow then threw an interception. Philly scored a touchdown. They're down 17. Gesicki then fumbled, and a field goal. They're down. They lost by 20. So I just don't subscribe to the Burrow did everything he could last year to win those games, but they just lost because of the defense. Actually, no. He put up amazing numbers. Amazing numbers. And then in the fourth quarter and late games, when you needed to keep those numbers going, he turned into Joe Burrow late, because that's who Joe Burrow is, quite frankly. Joe Burrow is way more that than he is Patrick Mahomes, who for 3 quarters, Mahomes has just been so bad. Well, what happened in the fourth quarter and on third down? Oh, I mean, they were incredibly efficient, But what about the first part of the game? Oh, so when you have to have it, Mahomes comes through.
Yeah. His success has eliminated win-loss record as a quarterback stat for a lot of people, right? That was the end-all be-all forever, and now it's not. And I feel like he's got a new haircut now, and he is out to prove that, like, okay, I'm going to win and throw lots of touchdowns.
Yeah.
Just
and have a different haircut.
And have a different haircut.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah. Did you know he already mentioned the haircut?
That was why I brought it back.
No. Is it the Cumberland Gap?
That's in Johnson City,
Hopefully
Tennessee,
they create some sort of Cumberland Gap on the left side of the offensive line.
Let's hope that's the case, opening up for running.
The Darien Gap.
There it is. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back and continue rolling. We got the cuts before the show is over. What's happened last week? I don't know. We'll find out together next. Here on a Friday, Mick Schaefer hanging out with us, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. A lot of college football this weekend, so a cool spot to go to watch some games. Yeah. Little more than 3 hours from now, the KU pregame gets underway right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
High school football, too, tonight.
High school
on the
football
Missouri
going on.
side.
Missouri starting. Yeah. Get it rolling. Well, they started last week, right?
Nope.
Missouri, this tonight?
Tonight.
I thought it was last week. Yeah, like I said, definitely the 29th.
Lisa
Definitely
North,
the 29th.
Rapek.
Yes, there you go. So take that. All right, before we wrap things up, Michael, his maiden voyage with the Cuts. Let's roll, man. Let's play the Cuts. What happened, Michael?
If I'm going to go and tab a guy, because I like doing this every single year, I try and tab a guy that most people aren't tabbing. What's wrong with tabbing a guy? Did I say something?
I think it's tapping.
Lebo.
Todd should be walking in here in a good mood. Got his workout on this morning.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
He got his grind on. He's always grinding. Grinding on just objects. It's always.
I kind of want. Like, hey, you can't do that. Stop grinding on that, Todd. Stop grinding on that.
Stop that, Todd.
Todd, stop it.
It's a door
You
frame.
can't grind on that. Talk to
It
HR
does.
about that.
It is odd how much he just grinds on around here. Anyway,
Sterling grinded on you the
that's
other
right.
day.
Yeah.
Can we?
Play that again.
What's that? Go away. Oh,
What
man.
happened?
I don't know.
was
That's
you.
you.
Can we? Why was I screeching?
We don't know. We don't know, Sterling. We don't know. Keep it
Can
rolling.
Can we?
Is that when you wanted to shrink golf, maybe?
Oh, it's probably
I don't know.
Team Shrink the game. Yeah.
Who
The
knows?
Honolulu Hot Lips. Team.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know what was
Really
happening.
animated.
I think somebody was like punching him or something, or he was getting tackled.
This has to be all in regard to hashtag Shrink the game.
I don't
I've
know.
been screwing you boys. What did I say?
Play that one again.
I've been screwing you boys.
How?
I've been screwing you
You're
boys.
drinking that marinara.
You are killing the Cuts this week, Sterling.
Please introduce yourself to the public.
My name is Gilbert Paul Burke the Fourth.
What's your nickname?
Which one do you want?
You know what I want.
Gildo?
I love that. It is now.
It is now.
It is now.
The first two games. Crap, the first three games.
Yeah.
God dang it.
Thursday!
Blew my-
Man, it's Thursday, baby! Thursday does this to Jake. Oh, yeah.
Seven.
Rashard
man.
Smith. Is he good in pass protection?
Nope.
Doesn't matter, but he
No,
split
it-
that
no,
dude
it-
out.
Now,
no,
you said
no,
it doesn't matter.
no,
That's
no,
too matter.
It does matter. Don't you start talking.
That's
Yeah,
why
he-
you spent
he
all
said
that.
He said that to make you mad.
Don't say that.
That's why you spent all that time and energy into the offensive line last year.
They could still bring more than 5 guys. Happens all the time. What are we talking about, guy?
What are you calling Rashard Smith not smart?
What do you mean not smart?
You don't think you can figure it out?
I said, is he good at pass protection right now?
Not yet, no.
How do you guys know that?
Up in training camp, and that's when I talk to people, that's what they say.
Oh.
I don't
As
know.
a third down back, you need to be a
Let's see
dog
what-
in pass protection.
Let's see when the bullets are flying.
Have you talked to anyone that suggests that he is good in pass pro?
No.
That's not an
And
issue.
this is why I asked, Gary.
But-
I didn't say he
'Cause
wasn't.
you do
I
have-
asked if
yeah.
he was good at it or not.
You got connections.
You
We're
need
asking
you need a guy at third down to be able to pick up a blitz no matter where it comes from.
Well, didn't you play
and do
NFL
it.
running back? Like, why can't you just watch some tape and tell us if he's good?
What tape you want me to watch?
He just played in the preseason.
I'm not watching that.
He's not watching preseason.
And you guys give me for.
What do you mean, you guys? I'm telling you what I saw.
Why are you
and what
saying?
people
Why
I
are you
talked
gonna
to.
cuss?
I didn't.
Not to him. That's not a curse word to him. Keep going.
He is going against Golette again, and him. That's been a great battle. It's
amazing.
been a really, really nice.
Who is he going against?
Golette. That's how I say his name?
Okay, that was better. Gelati.
Gelati.
Yeah.
Kind of like the coffee,
Yes.
a gelati.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, like
That helps
gelati.
you. Uh-huh.
So it took me
That's not
about
even
until
coffee.
September 1st to get Kingsley Suma out the ERI. So Galati will get around. The Chiefs like to draft people to screw me up with saying their names. I've come to that conclusion.
I love Tim.
But he's got to get his hands up a little bit, and Galletti has done a nice job of. Is that how you say his name? Gelati.
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 There you go.
Joe Lottie. Okay. Eventually I'll get it. Good battle between those two. So
Yeah.
now I'm afraid to say his name. What's his first name?
Ashton.
Ashton. Okay,
Gelati.
I'm just going to call him Ashton.
Everyone that calls Suamataia Kingsley because they don't like
Sua
Kingsley.
Mataia.
Ashton.
Yeah, it's-
Sua.
actually, that's
Mata. I
get
walked around the house going, Felix Anudike Uzama. And that was a complete waste of my time, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the Sua Mataia work I did
Yeah, he's
will
backing
be
up.
paid
He's
off
backing
more.
up Ashton right now. The
Or Ashton.
unofficial. Ashton. This,
Ashton Giletti.
I hope this kid gets cut.
That hard one is very hard to see until it's right upon you.
Whoa. I'll take his word for it, man. I'm not really sure. Crunny.
Let me give him my nuts to you.
I could see that 10 seconds ago. He was building up because
Yeah.
he started smiling like a child.
I'm going to be in next week's about.
He had a
next week.
He had a,
I have no idea what you're talking
he had a
about.
Garrett
guys.
Dieter's favorite word eating grin on.
I've been screwing you boys. What?
Have you?
I don't think so, but maybe.
I don't know what that was about, but I know that
there has to be
prominently displayed
a reason
cuts
why
this
I
week.
said that.
We're all looking for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know
It's
the
a big
reason.
journey.
I know the reason because I cut it, so I know exactly what it's from. But I don't feel like I should give out
Maybe
that
if
reason
you
on
said
the air.
boys less in
Boys.
your daily
'Cause I've been
vernacular and dog
screwing ya
less,
boys.
it wouldn't come across that way.
The issue is...
What's the issue?
All of that is taken out of context.
What?
Everything I say has meaning and feeling.
No,
and understanding. Can we?
Are you getting a ride home from Mrs. A?
There had to be a reason
thanks,
why.
Mrs. A.
Probably because people aren't tucking their shirts in when they're golfing. That's
You
probably
bet,
why.
Maxwell.
Yes. All right. Thank you for the work today, Mick.
I did nothing. Somebody is like, you have to work today. I'm like, I got to go to radio.
Yeah, right.
Talk
Exactly.
sports in a
totally
comfy
Gotta
chair.
hang out with the boys.
Yeah, screwing you boys is what he's been doing, man. I don't know why. He is.
Oh, my God.
What was he doing?
I don't
know.
hang out with any
Not
boys
sure.
in
I'm not
any
sure.
in any context whatsoever.
Yeah.
I don't hang out with boys.
Yeah, good for you.
To men.
All right.
I've been
AB.
screwing you boys.
All right, that'll do it for a Friday edition of The Zone. We will hand it over to the program right now. Enjoy the weekend.